Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mac, Matthew Rocchio, Randy Karraker here, ready for another week, another big, strong 5 days of radio here on 101 ESPN.
Oh, no, it's not 5 days, Randy.
Huh?
It was Memorial Day yesterday.
Oh,
so it's just 4 days, and it's a Taco Tuesday.
It's a Taco Tuesday already. I'm so happy about this.
How did your grilling turn out?
It was fabulous. Holy cow, it was good. So, I went over to the smokehouse. Shout out to the guys over at the smokehouse in Chesterfield Valley and picked up some of their burger blend, which was great. And so I did those burgers with the burger blend, and then I had some fresh asparagus that I put on the grill, and then got some on the air fryer. Air fryer had some onion rings, and then did some sweet potato tots and regular tots, and it was just fabulous, Danny.
Oh, what a spread.
Burgers were great, and then turkey burgers for the non-red meat eaters, and then had some apple chicken sausage, too. It was delicious. Thank you for asking.
Well, it sounds like you had a lot of people over. Or was it just for the fam?
Yeah. So,
about a half a dozen, cousin?
I had a leftover burger last night. About a half a dozen, cousin. Yeah. How about you guys? How was your weekend?
It was good. I really didn't do much of anything other than watching some games and doing some house stuff, and that was about it.
Did you watch any rain delay?
Oh, yes. There was a lot of that this weekend, wasn't there?
It was unbelievable how much rain How about all the rain we've taken in here in the month of May, and include April, too. I mean, it's been one of the wettest months in the history of St. Louis, and they're getting games in, so that's a good thing. But, man, it's been raining here in town.
Yeah, and credit to the Cardinals ground crew, by the way, because there was a lot that they had to deal with over the course of the weekend.
See, you're looking at my paper again, Brooke. That's one of the things I saw for the weekend. So I'll go back to it. Though.
You can build up to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of stuff for them to deal with. And hail. Was it hailing over at Busch Stadium as well?
I don't know if it hailed.
It hailed where I was.
Yeah, it hailed in Kirkwood. I know that because I have a friend that lives there, and he's got car damage, and he's got kids, and they've got car damage too. So the insurance companies are going to be busy for sure.
Yeah, they are. Ooh. Man, no doubt about it.
Yeah, hail damage.
I've had hail in the past. I've had hail damage, but now they can do it without. It's like I forget what they call it, but
just
they use a
pop
little
that
suction thing. Yeah, it's pretty good. We have Chris Kerber on the show today. A lot to talk about over the course of the weekend, including the Cardinals. After that incredible, successful 7-1 homestand, they dropped their Memorial Day matinee to the Reds by a score of 3-1. Of the last 12 outs that were recorded from the sixth inning on, 6, 7, 8, 9, the Cardinals struck out 9 times, and they were all swinging.
I looked at the bottom of the lineup as being a contributor as to why they lost. 5 through 9 went 1 for 16 against Cincinnati, and you also had a couple of errors, again, with Gold Glovers between them. You got guys that have 14 of those, and you don't anticipate that. The margin for error, we talk about it a lot, is thin, and you have to make plays, and if you don't, it can cost you, and it cost them yesterday.
Yeah, I thought with Lance Lynn, it was actually a really good outing for him, but he was just really the tough luck loser there, as 2 of the 3 runs by the Reds were unearned by Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, which, I mean, that's just surprising. Is that the first time that that's happened with both of them in a game as Cardinals?
Boy, it's hard to remember if it has. If it has
it'd
happened,
be rare.
Yeah, it'd be really rare.
I thought Lance Lynn, being a veteran, was really smart how he attacked the strike zone because he was getting a lot of high strikes. So he was throwing that four-seamer up in the zone and got away with it as the strike zone was a little shaky at times, but a lot of high strikes were called in that game. And if you're getting that and you can locate, which he can locate when he's right, you go right back to it. It's like if they call a pitch that's on the outside corner, well, what happens? You go right back to it, especially if it's an egregious call. And so I thought he took advantage of the high strike zone yesterday at times.
Yeah, I think he did. I think that he's doing right now what I was expecting of Lance Lynn when they signed him.
I think for me, he's even a little bit better. There's 15 teams in the National League, right? So 75 starting pitchers, but more than that because people get hurt, right? He's 21st in ERA.
Yeah.
And he's got a ton of innings.
I am shocked over the innings. I did not anticipate him going as deep as he is in games. And, to his credit and to Mo's credit, I think Mo takes obviously a lot of heat in town, but you look at the starting rotation and you look at the bullpen, he revamped that and made a ton of changes. And for the most part, the pitching has been pretty good for the Cardinals.
It really has. The biggest question, I guess we can't answer until the end of the season, is how can it last? Is it sustainable for the starting rotation?
That's the biggest question for me. As you go to the bullpen, like Jojo Romero has not looked as sharp to me. And is that a byproduct of him working a ton in higher leverage situations? Because you seem like you're put into a spot where you got to be perfect when you're in a tight ball game. But Romero, he's getting through it, but it's just not as sharp as we saw early on in the season.
Even with Ryan Helsley, too, I know he was able to pick up his 17th save, but it was a little bit of a white-knuckle moment there towards the end.
He might need a couple days off.
How do you hit him? I don't understand. I used to think, how would they put bat to ball on Jordan Hicks with a sinker that's 100 miles an hour? I think that way with Ryan Helsley. He's got nasty stuff, and I just wonder, how do guys hit this power pitcher that is one of the most powerful guys in the league? And they do. They find a way, but for the most part, he is bent but not broken many times so far this year.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals will play the Reds again tonight. Kyle Gibson will get the start, and he'll be opposed by Abbott of Cincinnati. He's 3-4 with a 2.68. He's been good so far.
There's a lot of talk of the team getting in late on, I guess, Monday morning, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Every team gets in late.
Well, Cincinnati didn't, though.
So what? You got to deal with it. That's part of the game.
I think the cumulative effects of the weekend probably caught up with them, too. The Friday night, and they even go back to the doubleheader not doubleheader, but the suspended game, that long rain delay. I think the cumulative effect probably did catch up to the Cardinals a little bit. I don't think I got a lot of sleep last night.
No, I ain't buying it.
No.
You got to deal with it.
Even with the late game on Sunday, and then you fly out.
It affected me. I slept through the second half of the game yesterday.
I say that I would have more of I'd look at it more tonight of being kind of sluggish than I would yesterday. I just don't buy it. That's part of the game.
And you've lived it. You've lived that where you with all that travel, so you know better than we do.
I think you're more in my time of watching it. I think that you're better the next day. It seems to be that way, and then the day following is when you're a little sluggish. So maybe you see a little sluggish tonight. Maybe, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Our guy Kyle Gibson's going, so we'll be fine.
I just don't. I don't buy into it. I look. Every team has got to travel. Every team gets in at 3 or 4 in the morning. It's part of the sport. I think you adapt to it, whether you like it or not. And I don't know, man. I don't buy into it.
But we got old guys.
And
so
we're
it
old.
takes a little bit longer. The soreness really kicks in.
Oh, big time. Hockey last night, the Dallas Stars, man, they came back. They were down 2-0, and they took care of the Oilers by a score of 5-3. And they dominated in the second period. They were dominated in the third, but they lead the series 2-1. They won 3-1 on Saturday, and then won last night by a score of 5-3.
Yeah, the Dallas Stars, they're rolling, huh?
I looked at Edmonton. I thought for sure this is Stanley Cup team. Mm-hmm. They jump out to that lead, and it's been such a tight series, which when you get into this portion of postseason play, everything's so tight. You get a 2-0 lead, it feels like you win the game.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
And the Stars were outshot 13-3 in the third period, but outscored Edmonton 2-0.
I want to go back to baseball for a moment.
You got it.
I can't believe you guys haven't brought up Angel Hernandez yet.
We're going to. We'll get to Angel.
All right.
Oh, are we doing a whole segment dedicated to Angel?
We could. I just want to get the other scores out of the way.
The heck with the scores, Randy. Angel Hernandez is retired.
This is a big moment.
Boston beat Indiana. Jason Tatum was the MVP of the series. Boston over Indiana 105-102. Celtics sweep the Pacers and now head to the finals. The St. Louis rocked and rolled for the Celtics.
Yay for Jason Tatum. There we go.
Yeah, the St. Louis. And by the way, St. Louis and Matthew Tkachuk and fellow Chaminade grad Matthew Tkachuk will be playing tonight for the Panthers against the Rangers in Game 4 of their series.
The Pacers blew it again in that situation. If only this game was 45 minutes, they would be able to size up their championship rings right now.
You lose your best player, man. No, they hung in at home. That was impressive. Matthew.
I was going to say, we actually do have an Angel Hernandez segment coming up. You guys have to do Take It or Leave It blindfolded.
Oh.
Angel Hernandez, who baseball was able to get rid of 30 years. If you're not aware of it, 1999, actually 25 years ago, baseball. The umpires went on strike, and baseball hired replacement umps, and a bunch of the established umps resigned from their jobs, and they were gone. They were done. They were finished. And then baseball came to an agreement with the umpires, and they had to bring a few of them back, and one that they chose to bring back was Angel Hernandez, who had been terrible before that and has been terrible since.
Hasn't he sued the Major League Baseball twice?
Yeah, he has. And one of them was over racial discrimination. And baseball actually, because he wasn't getting playoff assignments and World Series assignments, so baseball, in the lawsuit during the course of the case, talked about how horrible he was. Yet he was still employed by Major League Baseball.
So here's the question. Was it a conversation last week and said you could maybe play out the year, but you're done? Or you can just get, take what we're going to pay you for the remainder of the year, and then after that you got probably a nest egg built up and benefits and all that kind of stuff, and just let's get this done right now. I wonder if baseball stepped in and just said, enough's enough.
Yeah, it felt like that. It felt like a very quick, forced retirement in this situation, because then why didn't they wait just till the end of the year and just say, okay, retire nicely right off into the sunset at the end of the season? I feel like they just wanted to get this done now, and it needed to be done now.
And he hadn't been on a field since May 9th, and baseball had been negotiating with him for 2 weeks to get this done. And my guess would be that in these negotiations, baseball said, look, you'll be an umpire, but you aren't going to umpire.
I remember the first pitch by Jack Flaherty a couple of years ago, and I said, and it was right down the middle. I mean, the first pitch of spring training. And I said, Angel Hernandez is in midseason form. And I got a lot of heat for it. I was like, well, come on. This is what you expect with Angel Hernandez. This is the way it goes. And he misses a lot of calls, man. And so I think a lot of fans are probably going to be happy as they wake up this morning.
Yeah, and fans and players, managers.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people.
The ones that matter.
Exactly, that are celebrating. Now, who is the most hated umpire?
Here at CB Buckner.
Yeah. Who's the other guy? CB Buckner and his name escapes me. There's two of them. There's two of them that are just taking heat every single time. Angel Hernandez, CB Buckner. Come on, Dan. It rolls off the tongue because they're awful. And I can't think of it.
I have problems with Laz Diaz. I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
Love Laz Diaz.
Do you? See?
Now, that's on a personal level.
Uh-huh.
So we had a game in which it was honoring the troops, and I believe Laz is a Marine. You're never a former Marine. You're a Marine, and so I always had great respect for him.
That was nice. That was good.
He was great. He was great to talk to.
Somebody threw in Easterbrook.
Estabrook? Yeah.
As one of the worst ones.
I'd have to look at how they get rated. I know how they get rated. I have to look at the bad ratings that they get, but it'll come to me before it's all said and done.
I feel like it's Buckner. I feel like that. Do you feel like that's just more of the Cardinals, or everybody in general feels that?
Everybody.
There's a lot of Laz Diaz on the text line in YouTube chat.
I know.
Somebody said Kupla.
Culpa, Ron Culpa.
Ron Culpa.
Sorry, they
St. Louis guy.
You don't diss Ron Culpa.
He's had a lot of run-ins, it seems like. And I wonder if he goes in saying, I'm not going to be biased. Just human nature in the back of your mind. But, yeah, Ron Culpa, the St. Louis, and takes some heat, too.
618 says that the guy who recently just got a lot of gruff, who has the school, Wendelstadt.
Maybe I'm thinking him.
He had a rough one against
right.
Aaron Boone, but he's a good umpire. He just had that, and he's one of those umpires that is kind of like God. He wants to be in charge of everything.
Yeah, that Boone situation was not good whatsoever. Do you think that they absolutely hate all the new camera angles as well?
Oh, and the audio that's down there? Yeah, they do.
And the grading system, too. I mean, they're graded, and it's public knowledge now, where it never was public knowledge. You got graded on it, but it was always kept in-house.
I love Joe Torre, but his job is to oversee and hold the umpires accountable. But he says his job is to be the umpire's friend because he's the only friend they have. Right? Remember when remember when Sandy Alderson was in charge of the umpires and how good they got? With Questek and stuff like that.
Yep.
I think you need to have somebody that oversees them that actually does hold them accountable and doesn't care about their feelings, just wants them to be good.
Yeah, and MLB is supposed to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And you're talking about one individual, which doesn't make it easy for Joe Torre as well. So it's not an easy thing to do.
A couple of other notes for you. City drops their third straight game on Saturdays, 2-1 to Seattle over at City Park. And 39 years ago was the Memorial Day Massacre. Celtics at home over the Lakers, 148-114. It was one of the all-time basketball games because it was Magic and Bird. It was the Lakers and Celtics, and everybody thought, okay, Boston wins at home, 148-114. They're going to roll in this series.
The Lakers won, correct?
Lakers won the series in 6, yeah. And it wound up being a great series, but it wound up being a revenge series for Magic Johnson too. So.
Yeah, that sounds really tough.
It was a massacre. It was. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, things we loved about the weekend on Memorial Day weekend with Brooke, Dan, and Randy on 101 ESPN.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue on ESPN. Tomorrow night, Oilers and Stars Game 4. Pre-game at 7. Puck drop at 7:30. The NHL plays on 101 ESPN.
Summertime is the best time to enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and Pella replacement windows. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050.
Is that all, sir?
Yep, all I can afford.
Price check on ED Meds. Manager to the front, please.
Paying too much for your ED meds? Want discreet, convenient pickup or free delivery to your home or workplace? The Medicine Shop in St. Charles is your destination. Get generic sildenafil for less than $2 a pill with a prescription. A full pharmacy with a quality promise and the personal care and attention you deserve. Call 636-949-5593.
stcharles.medicineshop.com.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1881 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1881S silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. Only a limited quantity of these Morgan silver dollar coins are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-386-7195 and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1881S Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic S mint mark of the San Francisco Mint. But with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1881S silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 140 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-7195. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1881S Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-386-7195.
Want to get hooked up with free stuff and get into some of the biggest sports events and concerts? Sure you do. Keep it locked on 101 ESPN for your chance to text in and win on the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling text line.
Attention 101 listeners.
You can join Kyle Gibson, Tommy Edmond, Paul Goldschmidt, Ryan Helsley, Nolan Arenado, Stephen Matz, and Miles Michaelis
in supporting some amazing causes during Big League Impact's All Win campaign.
Consider making a donation in exchange for fun prizes and giveaways from Big League Impact. See the full list of foundations and programs being supported by this year's campaign and find all the details on how you can help support this year's All Win drive.
With Big League Impact, now at 101ESPN.com.
This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
All right, what we love about the weekend. Brooke Grimsley, how about you?
Number 2.
For me, it's going to be the world getting to see more of Alec Biscuit Burleson. Burley being mic'd up this weekend is TV gold. He is absolutely hilarious. I don't know if you saw the part where they knew the background of how he had to do DoorDash during COVID because times were tough and there was no baseball going on. And he was just absolutely shocked. He was like, how do you guys know this stuff about me? But he has such a great personality. We've seen it in person if you have been around the clubhouse, but I feel like now we're seeing it kind of come out a little bit more. One, because he's playing well, and so we're seeing a lot more of him. But two, the opportunity to see him mic'd up like that. He is a really funny guy.
And he gave us the reason, the background of the Biscuit nickname when we were at the Big League Impact event last week, but then he wouldn't give it to the cat yesterday.
No, he's being very secretive. Well, I think that he did reveal to some of the reporters because, of course, they're really trying to dig into this one and get the full background. But basically, as we've told before, it was a nickname through college. There has to be a little bit more to the story he's not revealing. Maybe one day, end of season, he can fully reveal the story.
I believe I may have it, unless you guys.
Oh.
So I emceed a function last week in which the Cardinals front office was there and a handful of players, and I think it has to do with rapping. Mm-hmm. And unless I don't,
no, that's right.
Am I right?
Yeah, he gave himself the nickname. Yeah, because Biscuit Spurls.
I love seeing guys mic'd up.
Yes.
I know some fans are thinking it's a distraction to the actual game on the field, and could it be a distraction for a player? Certainly it could be, but you have 162 games. We talk about trying to get access to these guys. We'll put a microphone in front of somebody ready to go 500 miles an hour at an Indy race, but 5 minutes before they go out, but we won't put a microphone on one of the players. I think it's great. I think it's great insight.
Hey, we watched Jose Martinez play. You don't need to be mic'd up to be distracted.
Right. He was fun to watch.
He was great.
I think of another good mic'd up moment, and why I think that it's really important when we're talking about growing the game is Adam Wainwright's mic'd up moment. Remember with the pregame routine and bullpen? Even players have talked about that, about how insightful it was.
It was great.
Now, do I go to number two?
You're number two, yes, sir.
Goldie, the power is back. I think that when you look at what he's trying to do differently at the plate and change some things mechanically, it started with him starting to hit the ball the opposite way, going to right center. He lets the ball get deeper. I think that's huge. First 37 games, he was hitting 190 with a 530 OPS. His last 13, he's batting 321 with the average over 1,000 OPS. So seeing Goldie kind of come into his own, I think it's crucial for this team. Now, you have to have young players step up, and they're starting to get that, but your corner guys have to be the corner guys that you expect.
Was it Jim Edmonds working with him? It seems like that. I don't know if there was a specific timeline that happened, but I know that was something that was revealed.
There's no doubt.
It's got to be Jimmy.
Yeah.
Got to be Jimmy.
At least it helps just to have a different perspective coming in.
Yeah. Guys, I don't know why they call Memorial Day the unofficial start of summer. It's the official start of summer in my book. And my number two for the weekend is we're in grilling season, baby. And I dislike the cicadas, so I was smoking. You
were smoking cicadas?
Well,
that's what
unfortunately, yes.
Right.
So one actually, because I have a wood chip smoker that I use on the gas grill so that you can get smoky flavor. And lo and behold, the cicada flies right in there into that smoker. Yeah.
Did it change the flavor?
I don't know. It was really good.
I'm so tired of those things.
Me too.
I finally had one fly into my car this weekend, and I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, is it buzzing?
It was. It's not anymore.
Oh, apparently they smell if they're. You better find that.
I'm trying. I really am.
Get that thing vacuumed
Has anybody
out.
found one in their mouth yet?
I have not.
Thank goodness.
How is it getting in your mouth, Dan?
If you're riding your bike, Yep.
If you're riding in a golf cart, sometimes your mouth is open. I played a lot of golf this weekend, so I had some hit my eye. I had one hit off my forehead. I had a lot of them on my back.
Yep, I've had that too. Yeah, some in the house. Yeah, so I had one walking into Costco. As a matter of fact, I had to throw it on the floor. Sorry, Costco. But so anyway, I'm just happy that summer's here. That was my number two.
Minus the cicadas.
Yeah.
Number one.
My number one is the Cardinals, and they are rolling. I know that they lost, but still prior to that, you go 7-1 on the homestand, and you're able to take 2 from the Cubs. That is my big thing from this weekend.
All right. Number one for me would be the grounds crew and their work to prep Busch Stadium. And you got to give them a ton of credit. Billy Fenley has been doing this a long, long time, the head groundskeeper at Busch Stadium. And to get that field playable on Sunday night, which was they needed to get that in. They've got too many doubleheaders potentially coming up in July and early August, I believe. So for Billy Fenley and his crew to get that field ready to play, my hat is off to you. A tip of the cap, if you will, to Billy and his crew. I thought that was amazing to get that ready. Now, these fields are designed to let the water sink and try to get it in. But, man, if you looked and saw some of the video that was crushed inside, the water was just crushing the Cardinal dugout. I mean, congratulations to them to get that field ready.
Yep, they did a great job.
Certainly did.
Yep. And my number one, and Brooke, I know that one of your favorite things in life is talking sports with your dad. And Danny, you've had the opportunity to play a lot of golf with your daughters, which is cool. I went and played golf with Katie on Sunday morning over at Forest Park. We had a great time. And it's just fun to get out and spend time as a girl dad, spend time with the girls when they're interested in what they're doing. Katie and I had a great time. We're going to go out and play more this summer, but that was my favorite thing of the weekend.
She's a really good golfer. At least from what I saw, it was just top golf, but still, it's like she's a really good golfer.
Yeah, she can play. She can hit it.
When did you start playing? When did she start playing?
High school. Yeah, I actually wanted her because even now, more than 1,000 female golf scholarships a year go unclaimed. So I thought, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
because you don't have to be great to get a women's golf scholarship. She just didn't want to play in college. But so she started. I think. Well, she took lessons as a little kid, but never really got on a course until she was right before high school.
My daughter's getting recruited for college golf.
Fantastic.
You have no idea how fantastic it is.
Right.
Let's hope that scholarship money is there.
How many holes in one?
She's got 4.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and I played with my son this weekend, both my kids, so I know what it's like, too, and it was kind of slow, Memorial Day weekend, holiday weekend, and I got my ass kicked by both of them.
When was the first time that happened, when that started to happen?
Oh, man, probably, let's see, my oldest is 18 years old, probably 10. And then my next guy is 15, so he was probably 4 years ago. And when I mean kicked, I mean kicked. Mm-hmm. They dominate. Like my oldest son, he shot a 73 yesterday, 1 over par. Wow. So he's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, he beat me by 30 strokes.
He beat me by 20. I played terrible.
So that's what we loved about the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, the Cardinals have a 7-1 homestand, and yesterday missed a chance to get back to 500, but with the recent success, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are our confidence points in the Cardinals right now? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're looking for a great lunch today on this beautiful day in the St. Louis area, head to the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. It's one of my favorite places to have lunch or a happy hour or a dinner. They have a magnificent menu with the greatest trashed wings that you'll ever have. Get the trashed wings with their signature golden sauce over at Fenton Bar and Grill, or maybe try it with a little ranch if that's what you prefer. But either way, you need to start with the trashed wings and then have one of their fabulous salads, or they've got great burgers or fantastic wraps. Their chicken Caesar wrap is great. They have fantastic daily specials, and they have a wonderful staff. Whether you're saying hi to Alicia or Kelly or Megan, the entire crew is so much fun, and you're going to have a great time at the Fenton Bar and Grill. And they're all about sports. So when you walk through the door, they're going to have sports on all the TVs. And the people at the bar, the people sitting in the restaurant are going to be sports fans. So you're going to be with like-minded people. When you go, tell them Randy sent you. You're going to get great service. You're going to have great food. You're going to have great time on the best patio in town as well at the Fenton Bar and Grill. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com. It's 2 minutes away from the soccer park. Tell them Randy sent you.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals play Game 2 against the Cincinnati Reds tonight. 5:40 first pitch. Kyle Gibson will be on the mound for the Cardinals. He's 3-2 on the season with a 3.181 ERA. He faces off against a lefty for the Reds, Andrew Abbott. Abbott on the season 3-4 with a 2.68 ERA. Over the weekend in the NHL playoffs, the Stars have taken a lead in the Western Conference Finals thanks to a 3-1 win on Saturday and a 5-3 win last night. And in the NBA playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals, they are over as the Celtics sweep out the Indiana Pacers 4-0 with a 105-102 win last night. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
All right, the Cardinals had a 7-1 homestand. They've won 7 of 9. They're within 2 games of 500. And as they start play today, they're actually in a better spot standing-wise than they've been since the first week of the season. Right now, Milwaukee still leads the way with a record of 31-22. They're 4.5 games ahead of the Cubs, but the Cardinals are only a game behind Chicago in the National League Central standing. And in terms of the wild card, and it's early to be talking about the wild card, but Memorial Day is a really nice benchmark for me. The Cardinals a game and a half out in the wild card for the last wild card in the National League. So with that being the case, what are our confidence points for the Cardinals on a scale of 1 to 10 for them to, let's just say, make the playoffs, be a playoff team, be the last wild card team? What are your confidence points right now?
For me, I think right now it would be a 6. I need to see them get to 500 above that. And I say that because there's actually a whole lot of teams in the Major League Baseball right now that are kind of clustered around that 500 mark. If you look at the AL West right now, the Mariners, I believe, last time I checked, are just 2 games over 500 in the AL West. So I don't think it's out of the question that maybe this could be the season where we get a sub-500 playoff team. But with the Cardinals right now, my biggest question with them is pitching. Can it last? And that goes for starting pitching, because there's still some question marks about that 5th starter, Steven Matz. He still doesn't look like he will be returning soon, maybe a few weeks away from another bullpen session. I think he will have a light bullpen session this week. But it seems like my biggest question with them is, can this pitching last with the starters and also the bullpen? Because we've talked about that. The usage of the bullpen is something that concerns me.
The 5th starter, you got to get a 5th starter. And whether you go outside the organization, or to me, it looks like Andre Palante would make that 5th start. And he's had 10 starts in his career, so it's not foreign to him with an ERA just over 3. I think the defensive shift ban has really affected him because he's a ground ball machine. Now, his slider and curveball, teams have hit 300 against him, but that shift, that once that was taken out, when you get ground balls, that's been a major thing for them and the Cardinals. I would look at Jordan Walker. You got to get him back, and he would be a part of this team if he was going right, a big part of the team. He's actually played now more games in Memphis than he has in St. Louis and still hasn't hit a home run.
Right.
That is of concern for me. Arenado's power is a little concern for me. And to your point, Brooke, I think the back end of the bullpen, they've been used a ton. So be careful with that. Middleton, I think, has had a little bit of a setback, too. That is of concern. But if you're going to tell me that you're going to be around 500 on Memorial Day, which is what I thought, I would put it at a 6, too. Can he hang around 500? And if you do, it's increments of 5 below or above. And hang around, man. The wild card is there. And I think before it's all said and done, the division will be there, too.
Yeah, and the 5th starter thing, I think, is the biggest question right now that I have. You have to be able to go out and get one, because even with Matthew Liberatore, I assume that maybe he would be piggybacking in that situation with Palante, because we saw, obviously, Liberatore here. But at the same time, you need another option. You need a 5th starter for the starting rotation for all of this to work out and last, so that you don't overuse your bullpen arms, which are, I mean, you talked about Romero and how much they've used him, Helsley in certain situations. I mean, they're really using those guys a lot, and they need another option. It'd be nice if Matthew Liberatore could just have that permanent spot back in the bullpen, because that could help. But in order to do that, you need to have a secure 5th starter.
Here's the thing. What you really need is a 4th starter. You have a 5th starter in Miles Michaelis, who's got the 2nd worst ERA among qualified starters in the National League at 5.64. He's 3-5, but he does have 59 innings pitched. He's 16th in the National League in innings pitched. Miles Michaelis is a number 5. What you need is a number 4. You need somebody that's capable of going out and winning you a game on a regular basis. You can't have a guy with an ERA of 6, which is what Michaelis essentially had. So the Cardinals, 60% of the time, are sending a guy out with a real chance to win a normal baseball game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, too. You get to the back end of that rotation, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
You kind of feel that way going into those games.
Yeah, and I love what is, first of all, I think Brendan Donovan's coming along. I love the advent of Burleson that we talked about earlier. I'm, like you, Dan, concerned about Nolan Arenado, and we're going to talk about him later in the show. I don't know what's going to become of Jordan Walker. Ciani is not going to be a great offensive player. So I still think about 50% of the offense is a question mark too. So I'm going to, because of that, I'm going to go 50-50 because I think we're in a down year in the National League, and especially with Acuña and Strider out for Atlanta. I think Philadelphia and the Dodgers are way above everybody else, and then you got a large group of teams in between, and the Cardinals are one of those.
Hang around 500.
Yep.
See what happens. And then you get to the trade deadline, if you're still around there, and make the adjustments, because there's going to be some teams that are out of it at that point and say, okay, it's time to sell off. I always looked at Memorial Day, 4th of July, and then the trade deadline to see where you're at and then to make adjustments moving forward.
At this point, too, do you think the Cardinals are already trying to assess if they're buyers or sellers for the trade deadline?
I think they'll always be buyers. I don't think the Cardinals, I think last year was an anomaly for them. And since they don't have a bunch of guys that are going to be free agents like they did last year, and they aren't going to let assets walk out the door. That's why they made the moves last year. I think the Cardinals, because it's their mentality, I think they'll be buyers. Cardinals are still living in 2011. They still think that if you're 10.5 back on the September 1st, that you have a chance.
To answer your question, Brooke, if you were way out of it and things were going like last year, then you could look at Gibson, you could look at Lynn, you could see if somebody wants Michaelis. I mean, there's a lot of guys that you could, ship on. Look at Goldie, free agent to be. But you'd have to be way out of it for, in my mind, to say, because of what we're talking about, if you hang around 500, you got a chance to get in the playoffs.
And we obviously there's 4 months left of the season. But when you look at what has happened with their lack of desire to bring up people like McGreevy and Graceffo, and Tink Hens is still a ways away. We don't know about Robertson. But I'm almost to the point where at the end of the season, not right now, but I'm thinking right now, at the end of the season, I'm going to have to pick up the options on Lynn and Gibson.
Maybe so. By the way, those minor league guys you mentioned, Graceffo is now right around 95, 96. Zach Thompson hit 97 the other day.
He's been really good.
It's there. It's just a matter of consistency. He had one game in which he walked 7. The other thing about Thompson, he's been living, though, around 92, 93. But the other day he hit 97, so it's there in the tank.
So when Steven Matz returns, are you putting him back in the starting rotation? You have to at this point, right? But with the Cardinals, don't you think the ideal situation is that he would be in the bullpen? I liked him out of the bullpen last year.
I did too, but they just don't have that fifth starter, Brooke, and I think that's what they have to look at. But it's going to be a while. I would think that he'll have a full rehab before he comes back.
I don't think you have to put him in the rotation when he comes back. What if Palante? There's a lot of what ifs. What if Palante comes up here, pitches well? Would you take him out of the rotation?
No, that wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I'm just assuming that the Cardinal pitchers, when they get to the majors, are going to pitch the way they have the young pitchers.
And he's a 5-inning guy.
Yeah.
Right now, do you go out and get a 5-inning guy that gives you, let's say, 3 or 4 runs given up? It's not much difference than what you have right now.
Right. By the way, when you mentioned Jordan Walker, are you guys worried about Jordan Walker? About him ascending? Now, his OPS is right around 700, I believe, but he's got a couple of doubles. He does have no home runs, and
he's only got 7 extra base hits.
Yeah, he's not getting an awful lot better down there, which is kind of what they sent him down there to do. If you're not doing it down there, probably not going to happen here. I'm mildly. He just turned 22 last week, so but I'm mildly concerned.
Well, it feels like you see a lot of guys go through a sophomore slump. So I think that could be expected. But at the same time, it does concern me because you have to make this work with Jordan Walker. He was a part of their big plan with the outfield. And I know that some people say, well, is it because we overhype our prospects too much? Maybe he's just not that good. He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out with him is my thought process.
And yes, the Cardinals hyped him. Mozeliak said that he was the Cardinals' best hitting prospect since Pujols. But he was rated the top 5 prospect by Baseball America and MLB Pipeline. These are independent people. These aren't Cardinals people that are rating him. Jim Bowden still has him as a top 5 guy. Jim Bowden said last week that if he were the Royals, he would call the Cardinals and find out if he's available, and he wouldn't be. But there are a lot of independent people that love the skill set of Jordan Walker.
I'm not concerned yet just because he's 22. So I got to give him a full run. He hadn't been basically at AAA Memphis until last year. Let him kind of relax down there, see what happens, give him a long-term look unless somebody gets injured, and figure out where the power is. I just wouldn't give up on him yet. I think that'd be crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I hope the Cardinals are that patient with him, and I hope that he doesn't go somewhere else and burn the Cardinals like so many other guys have.
I think they'd be patient, don't you?
Yeah,
they have to be, because they know. I mean, even how many times has Mozeliak joked now about outfielders who have gone on to have success elsewhere? They're fully aware of that.
Yeah, and I think they'll, if it doesn't happen for him, they'll keep him until his market value is gone. Kind of like Dylan Carlson, kind of like they did with Alex Reyes. I think they'll keep him around until he is not a valuable commodity anymore.
22. I keep going back to that. Let it play out and see what he can do.
Yeah. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO.
Yo-ho. Just a quick one.
It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. I want you to know about a cool thing that's happening here in St. Louis, because there's a little opportunity for youth with disabilities in our region to play baseball and other sports because of the lack of adaptive facilities. But that is about to change here in St. Louis. The Gateway Region YMCA is partnering with Cardinals Care and the Boniface Foundation on construction of a new state-of-the-art adaptive sports complex that's including a Miracle League baseball field, inclusive playground, and multi-purpose field so kids and adults with disabilities can play sports. And working with the Cardinals, the Y is excited to share that the field will be named Paul Goldschmidt Field. As part of its work as a nonprofit, the Y provides comprehensive adaptive support services to more than 1,000 individuals annually. The new facility is a game changer, and it enables the Y to expand programming specifically for sports for individuals with disabilities. But the Y still needs help. It's not too late to become a founding donor and leave a lasting legacy. The Y has launched its community fundraising phase, and while every gift counts, there's some really cool recognition opportunities starting at just $500 for you or your company to put your name on. Consider making sports available for all so children with disabilities can play ball and experience the joys of being on a team Visit gwrymca.org. That's Gateway Region, gwrymca.org.
Take it or leave it.
Want to say something? We put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, time for your take it or leave it. The text line is open. Brooke, Dan, Matthew, and Randy. Guys, I was driving around on Friday, and there was a guy on ESPN radio named Jonathan Zaslow. He's a Miami guy. And he was talking about if Jaylen Brown were to win the NBA Finals MVP. Here's the quote. He said, if Jaylen Brown wins the NBA Finals MVP, what's that conversation like in regards to Jason Tatum being a superstar? I LOL'd. I literally laughed out loud. And I got the quote, and I tweeted the guy. He still doesn't seem to get it. But
tweeted?
Did he respond?
Yeah, he did. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, here's what you said. And then he didn't respond. But take it or leave it, there is no conversation about Jason Tatum being an NBA superstar.
I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to phrase that, but it seems like, and this was your sick of it last week, it seems like specifically with NBA, they like to just really blow up that whole narrative of what will this do to their legacy? What will this do to LeBron's legacy? Are they truly a superstar? It feels like they just really recycle that narrative over and over again with just different people who are really, really good at their sport, which Jason Tatum is.
Here's a first-team All-NBA player that has led his team to the conference finals, and you're wondering if he doesn't win Finals MVP, what it's going to look like in regards to him being a superstar?
I don't get it.
What are you doing on ESPN?
Yeah, he also helped a lot with the win. I mean, of course, Jaylen Brown has been outstanding, of course. I'm not taking away from that, but Tatum has also been important. What did he have, 26 points?
Well, and Tatum's greatness doesn't take away from Jaylen Brown being a superstar either.
No.
The guy's all NBA.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's absolutely crazy. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with you. That's sad that he didn't reply to your tweet.
Pretty hot take.
so when he
tried to come back with some like, well, we were talking about Steph Curry, which they weren't, but then I came back with, well, I never thought that when Durant won the 2 NBA Finals MVPs or when Iguodala did, that Curry wasn't a superstar. I always thought he was a superstar.
I do think it adds to his legacy, but to say that it hurts him of some sort, that if he's not the MVP, that's stupid.
Right. Let's be realistic. If the Celtics win, doesn't matter who the MVP is. It's kind of like the Warriors. Do we really remember Kevin Durant being the MVP? Who was the star of those teams? It was Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Right.
Yeah. That's so. Why do you think that they do that with Jason Tatum?
They got time to fill.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. Easy enough. Yeah. I will take that one, Dan. Well, take it or leave it, guys. The Yankees will finish with the most wins this season. And I'm talking about the regular season this year.
In all of baseball?
In all of baseball.
Brooke, I like this
I know that there's that other team in LA.
There is, yeah.
What about the Phillies?
Well, yeah, that's another one. I'm saying the Yankees. Will you guys take it or leave
get
it?
Garrett Cole back at some point.
I'm going to leave it. I think the Phillies. Now, they haven't had competition on their schedule like others, but the Phillies are loaded. They are rolling. They have momentum. They have confidence. I think with the Braves, with the injuries that you mentioned earlier, not quite to the level that they're accustomed to. I'll go the Phillies.
I'm just going to I'll go with the chalk. I'll take the Dodgers. But I'll say that the Yankees have the most in the American League. Absolutely.
Okay. I agreed with that. It's my turn, isn't it?
It is.
All right, take it or leave it. Mason Winn has a hitting streak of 16. Take it or leave it. Winn will set the Cardinals' record of 26 before it's all said and done.
26.
In his career?
Right now,
in
just
this,
his
during this streak?
rookie season. Now, the record is 25 by Joe McEwing. Pujols and Jordan Walker last year had 17. And I bet you remember this, Randy. Eric Pappas had a hitting streak of 16 as a rookie. Yeah. So Mason Winn is 10 games away from setting the all-time rookie record for a hitting streak in Cardinals history.
I'm going to leave it.
I'm going to leave it too.
But, okay, maybe during the span of his career, do we think he'll be able to accomplish that?
Yeah. I think he could. No, I don't. No, yes, I do.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that speed and his bat to ball. I'm going to say yes, he will be able to accomplish
So you'll
that.
take it or leave it, or he'll leave it.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it just because of I think Randy's right, and the fact that he can drop a bunt. Mm-hmm. You know, when guys have a hitting streak that goes a long way, it helps to have speed, clearly. And if they can bunt, which no one can in today's major league game, but he can. He shows the ability to do that every once in a while. And you got to have a little luck, like you beat out a hit that normally you're out with. And with his speed, you beat it out and you pick up a base hit. That's how hitting streaks go a long way.
Can I just sneak another one in real quick before we go to the text line? Take it or leave it. The City Connects this weekend. We finally got to see him.
Thumbs up.
I like him. I'm going to take it.
I know, Randy, you are a huge uniform guy.
I am.
And Brooke and I talked about this when you had to leave the other day early. I'm going to take it. You kept the birds on the bat. I'm in.
Yep.
As long as the birds and the bat are in the front.
And some people don't like the Lou. I think the Lou is cool. I'm fine with it.
Cool.
I know the kids like it. I love the patch with the fleur-de-lis and the arch. I think the Cardinals did, and okay, let's give them credit. Nike did well with this one. But I'm glad that, because you know that Nike wanted to go wild. I'm glad Bill DeWitt III is so attached to the history and tradition of the Cardinal uniform. He didn't want to go that crazy with it. So it maintains a lot of the integrity of the history of the uniform while giving you a newfangled look.
I actually saw a lot of people wearing them this weekend, too. They're expensive, but I think that they look really nice on the players and in person.
You know, it's shocking. You're going to be able to sell some new merchandise.
Why would baseball do that? Why? I used to like it when we just
they're trying to connect to the city, Randy.
Okay. I used to like it, Dan, when we would just wear a suit to the game. Remember when we would wear a suit or our fedora to the game?
A fedora. We need to bring that back.
There are old school writers that wear fedoras.
Should baseball do that, where they do an old school night, where they even do where the commentators do the play-by-play like that, like back in the day?
Sometimes that happens.
It was what was it called? The accent, the transatlantic accent, or something.
We did that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Baltimore came through town, and we did a whole. I think we started out maybe in the first 2 innings in black and white on your television, and then
I love that.
As it transitioned over the years, we did different graphics. We did the open with suits and a fedora. So I had suspenders on.
We need to do that, and the fans can dress up and old school uniforms for the players. I think that would be a great idea.
That'd be really fun. By the way, here. And people can text in. I know that there were a lot of Ozzy jerseys back in the 80s, but it seems to me that we really hit our stride in terms of people wearing jerseys to the games with McGuire. Do you think that's right, or do you think it was before that?
Ozzy was such a star before that, but I don't remember people really wearing jerseys as much back that you would remember better than I because of being an usher. I just don't remember that as much.
No, definitely when I was an usher, there weren't nearly as many, and there were a few, but it seems like everybody in the stadium started wearing a jersey when McGuire came.
Or a jersey, too.
Yeah, right.
Or a lot of those. Yeah.
Yep. Matthew, what do you got on the text line there?
Take it or leave it. The Battlehawks are in trouble if A.J. McCarron doesn't come back.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Ooh, I'll take that one. I thought that there was a possibility that if things were bad that he would return later in the game, but I understand not wanting to push it. But still.
One game left, so you got to win. Yeah,
league better hope that they win.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, because we might have. What do you think? We have less than 10 for the championship game if the Battlehawks aren't in it?
Oh man,
I think so.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Take it or leave it. The Wolves come back from being down 3-0 against the Mavs.
I'm gonna leave that.
I'm gonna leave that.
Yeah, and I'm rooting for them. But Karl Anthony Towns has not been good at all. It's been up and down for Ant-Man, and I love him. But I think this is just, I know we're getting all this stuff about this being the best backcourt ever. Okay, tell me this. Given a choice of a backcourt, would you rather have Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, or would you rather have Michael Jordan and Ron Harper?
Ooh.
I'm going Bulls.
I'm going to go Michael Jordan.
That far. Kyrie or Luka, you would have Clay or Steph.
Yeah, right. You'd rather.
That's another, yes.
Yeah, but I'll take Michael and Ron, and I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this though: Kyrie Irving has been awesome.
He's been great.
Yep,
he's been great. I just don't think it's the best backcourt of all time.
That man can dribble the ball. My good God.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. The Cardinals should push hard for a trade with the White Sox for a starter and Robert Jr. with minor league players, including a piece or two from their major league roster that the White Sox could then flip for more prospects.
I think we missed out on that opportunity already.
Yeah.
You know where I see Tommy Pham. If I'm the Atlanta Braves, I'm looking at Tommy Pham.
Big time.
Yeah.
That's another team, by the way, that should call about Walker. Not that the Cardinals would trade him, but if I'm Atlanta, I'm calling.
I think a lot of teams would call.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Get him there with Kevin Seitzer?
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. You were a little confused by the people shooting fireworks yesterday.
I'm going to leave it because I didn't hear him. Maybe the cicadas drowned him out.
It was happening, and I was like,
heard
wait,
it.
what?
Yeah.
I didn't think we did that for this holiday.
No, I heard it, and I literally said to Dave, I said, was that a gunshot? And he was like, no, it's fireworks. I was like, oh, yeah. That's
Fireworks
happening.
exist. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Whew. Thank goodness.
It happens
4th of July,
sometimes.
you'll hear them all over the place.
I know, yeah.
I just didn't hear them on Memorial Day.
No, and that's the thing. On 4th of July, they drown out the gunshots.
I love that the PGA Tour stopped. I think it was at 3:03. Everybody stopped, and they had a flyover. Everybody stopped playing in recognition of Memorial Day.
That's great.
It was done with a lot of class.
Yeah. Cool.
Take it or leave it. Alec Burleson is the cold, dead hands hitter Mo and the Cardinals thought/hoped Dylan Carlson would be.
I'm going to leave
Cold
that.
dead hands? Yeah, I'm going to leave that.
Yeah, I'll leave it too.
There's a lot of hype around Dylan Carlson. You didn't have the hype around Alec Burleson.
No.
And here's the thing. This is part of what bothers me about baseball now. Alec Burleson hit .331. He actually produced. All right? So there's production, and then there's the process. And they loved Dylan Carlson's process, right? Hit the ball hard, all of that stuff. But he never produced to the level that Alec Burleson did in the minors. But they liked Carlson better because his underlying numbers looked better.
Carlson is really thin to me.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he look very thin to you guys?
He does. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the reason that he's not having success, but I do wonder what's the deal with that. I mean, he looks extremely thin to me.
Along those lines, have you guys been to Walgreens the last few days and seen the jumbo Reese's that they have?
No.
That's where Dylan Carlson needs to
Just
go.
pound some Reese's.
Yeah, jumbo Reese's.
Another thing about the fact that you're always eyeing those. Going back to Alec Burleson just for a second, think about that 2020 draft class and how many players they were able to get out of that. Jordan Walker, Mason Winn, Tink Hintz, and now Alec Burleson.
Yeah, pretty good. Impressive.
That is pretty good.
Good job by Randy Flores and the scouting department of the Cardinals. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thanks very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up, Nolan Arenado bared his soul to John Denton. How much of a concern are his struggles? That's next on 101 ESPN. Okay, I want you to be ready for the Cardinals tonight at the Great American Small Park in Cincinnati, because if the Cardinals hit a home run tonight, you get a free donut at Schnucks tomorrow. That's right. If the Cardinals hit a home run, you score a free donut the next day at Schnucks if you download the Schnucks Rewards app. It's donuts for dingers, and it's every single game for the rest of the season. So when you're watching the game and you see a Cardinal home run, you know that you can go to Schnucks the very next day for a free, freshly made donut, and their donuts are delicious from the best bakery in town at Schnucks. All you have to do is clip the digital coupon in the Schnucks Rewards app the next morning. Make sure you have the Schnucks Rewards app downloaded and ready to go, because you'll have to hurry. This is while supplies last. You already know Schnucks has the best donuts in town. They do. And they taste even better when they're free. Donuts for dingers when the Cardinals hit a home run. Download the Schnucks Rewards app and get into Schnucks with a Redbird homer either today, because Goldie gave you one, or tomorrow. Make sure that you get your free donut today from Schnucks.
Fresh perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mac, Randy Karraker, and this from John Denton's piece at Cardinals.com about Nolan Arenado's struggles in the first third of the season. The results, Arenado stressed again and again on Monday, all point to one obvious area for the 8-time MLB All-Star. He is having tremendous difficulty in regaining the stroke that helped him hit at least 30 home runs and drive in 100 runs for 7 straight seasons. It's bad, he said, quote, the swing is not good. My swing is not good. He said, I've been working on it and trying to figure this thing out, but my swing is not good. I'm a guy that pulls the ball in the air, and I haven't done that all year. I don't know what the answers are. I've got to continue to try to find it. I can see the difference of when I was good and when I'm not, but trying to apply it in a game right now is really hard for me. So here's a guy who is on a major league team with a major league staff, all kinds of help. He's got a great friend in Paul Goldschmidt that's one of the great hitters, and he can't figure out what's going on with his swing. Let's start with this before we get to our concern level. Why do you think this is happening? Why can't he figure it out?
That's a good question. I think Arenado is even searching for why he can't figure it out, because at this point, it feels like maybe it's something with his rhythm that is off, and it's something that is obviously really bothering him. And I think a really important point, can you read the quote again about pulling the ball?
Yes, I'm a guy that pulls the ball in the air, and I haven't done that all year. I don't know what the answers are. I've got to continue to try to find it. I can see the difference of when I was good and when I'm not, but trying to apply it in games right now is really hard for me.
I think the biggest part is with Goldschmidt and Arenado is that they're pull hitters, and they haven't been pulling. I know that Goldie is starting to turn things around, but I think there's been a lot of speculation from people where they say, okay, maybe it's something to do with approach with Arenado. Did he change his approach this season? But I think he's saying there that that's not it. He's not trying to do something different. It's just maybe mechanical issues at this point, and he can't get into a good rhythm. So I don't know what the answer is, and it seems like he's searching for the answer as well.
I see a guy that's really in between. And when you're in between, sometimes instead of reacting, you're guessing. I think he's overthinking probably at the plate. He's in his 12th year in the big leagues. And I'll put my money that by the time this thing is done, he'll have figured it out. Now, will he put in the number? He's got, I think, over 200 at-bats right now. Will he figure this thing out by the end of the year and be able to put up the numbers that he has in the past, well, you're already 2 months into the season. That would be tough to do. You know, you went through this with John Mabry. You went through it with Jeff Albert. Now it's Turner Ward taking the heat with Major League players that are not having success. I'd be more concerned about Carlson, Gorman, and Walker with young players not reading and seeing where they need to be. And again, the hitting coach is going to take a lot of heat. Right now, the other part of Arenado is what he's doing against left-handed pitching. That would concern me even more so than some of the other things that I'm seeing. He's hitting 190 against lefties. Mm-hmm. He only has 6 extra base hits in May. So there's something not right with his swing.
And to both of your points, he said, quote, I think it's a mixture of mechanics, but mentally it's been frustrating.
There you go.
Yeah.
He said, I mean, I've gone through struggles, but I'm still able to hit the ball in the air. But what I'm going through now is something I've never gone through quite like this. But my at-bats have just been terrible. I haven't felt like me all year. It's been a while. I don't think it's gone. I still move fast. I've gone through all the numbers and the random numbers, and they still tell me I'm moving as fast as I ever have. But there's a mechanical issue. I think that's the key. A mechanical issue and approach thing. I haven't been me in the last 5 months of baseball.
I think it's approach, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I see him taking a lot of fastballs right down the middle. And I saw that early with a lot of this team letting strikes go through the zone. I'd rather see him be more aggressive early in counts and see where that takes him. But to me, it's more the mental approach of what's going on. If mechanically the numbers sabermetrically are coming out, that his bat speed is good, if he puts bat to ball, that he's getting exit velocity, then I think it's probably between the ears at this point.
I really think it is between the ears, and maybe just overthinking a lot of this, simplifying the game. That's something we hear about all the time with players, is sometimes you just have to simplify things and have fun. That doesn't sound like a guy who's having fun. It sounds like a guy who's really in his head right now, and he wants to be the solution. You can tell that he really feels a lot of this pressure, and he's been open about that, even with last season, about how much that pressure has weighed on him, because he knows that if he goes, then the rest of this team offensively goes, and it helps the team win. And it just feels like that's a lot of pressure that he's putting on himself right now, which I know he's getting paid a lot of money to do so, but there's also the point where it's counterproductive.
Right. And Dan, to your point about Turner Ward, that's exactly right. Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt are not products of Turner Ward at the moment. That's just not, that's not one to blame Ward on. But Nolan has worked a lot with McGuire, and if I were the Cardinals, I would be open, if those two want to do it, to those two having a conversation or a Zoom, because Nolan has worked with McGuire a lot down in California at his warehouse down there. And Mark is all about approach, right? He's all about the mental aspect of hitting. So I think if Nolan is able to get help from somebody, and I don't know if he is. I don't know if this is something that maybe only Nolan can fix it. But I think McGuire's approach to hitting kind of fits fixing what he's talking about.
I'd take it a step further. I'd call Matt Holliday.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, there you go. That's his guy.
I guarantee that Matt Holliday has gone back and watched at bats and talked to Nolan Arenado probably every night or every other day and said, what are you seeing? What are some things to get out of this? Where am I at mechanically? If he says he's not right mechanically, I guarantee Matt Holliday's seeing that too.
Yeah, get Holliday with the team for a couple of days.
It would be good. Yeah. Or the other thing too that was interesting, this is more the mental side to me, but when you moved him out of either the 3 or the 4 spot and dropped him down to 5th, which they did yesterday, that's also trying to take some pressure off him on the mental side of what's going on at the plate, because this game is tough, man. This game is really, really hard. The best in the world do it 3 out of 10 times, so it's a game of failure and how you deal with that failure, and he hasn't had a lot of it. But I go back to this. He's in his 12th season, and I would assume he figures this thing out before it's all said and done.
You're right. I mean, yesterday, that was the first time that he was dropped to 5th in the batting order since 2015. So I think that's very telling about, one, how Oli Marmol is trying to handle this situation with Arenado. What can you do in this situation? If you're the manager, if you're the hitting coach, whoever it may be, Turner Ward, and I know that he's the hitting coach, but I'm saying, is there anybody who can kind of step in the organization currently and kind of help him through this?
I think Dan made the best suggestion. If he's not in the organization, but the guy who knows the swing best and the guy that Nolan has worked with the most is Holiday. That just makes the most sense.
I don't think people realize that these guys go outside the organization all the time. And it's not just hitters, it's pitchers too. It's guys that they worked with at Driveline. There are those that know their swings maybe better than some inside the organization. Who knows? But they know that individual so well that they will go to those individuals constantly outside the organization. It happens all the time.
Yeah. You know what's ironic is that so often a hitter's problem is that he's trying to pull it in the air too much.
Probably.
And Nolan is having the opposite problem. His swing is hitting it pulling the ball in the air.
Isn't it amazing how many hits he's gotten the other way?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the numbers on that. I probably need to look it up, but it just seems to me, off the top of my mind, that it seems like he's going the other way a lot. And that, to me, he just looks a little off. And it's mechanics, certainly, but all of a sudden, when you're not producing, it gets between the ears, and that's a tough spot to be in.
Let's just get Nolan and Jordan Walker and Holiday down at Sportport, down in Maryland Heights, get them down into the cages down there, and let them spend a couple hours just hitting.
That's what he needs, just having some fun there. Does he need a break? Is there a way that you would give him just a break, convince him to take a few days off in this situation?
That's not a bad idea.
I got 35 million reasons why I wouldn't.
Well, but just 2 days. Have Gorman play third a couple of days.
They did it with Goldie, where they were able to kind of plan it out, where he took a little bit of a break and then he started to do a little bit better. Maybe that's something they should do with Nolan, but I don't know how open Nolan is to that conversation as well. But maybe it's just a tough conversation of, look, it worked out for Goldie. Let's just give you a day or two to just kind of reset a little bit.
It's a wild, crazy story right now. John Denton has it at Cardinals.com. You can check it out there. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber, talking some Blues hockey here on 101 ESPN. College is really expensive right now, but if you're headed to college or if you have a youngster that's getting ready to go to college, you can get a great education without breaking the bank at Lindenwood University. It's one of the most affordable private colleges in St. Louis, and you won't have to sacrifice quality for incredible value. You can apply today or schedule a visit at lindenwood.edu. And take it from me, I went to Lindenwood, and it's always been a great value, but they apply real experience that will lead to real success. It makes such a difference when you go to Lindenwood University and you're on campus and you get to enjoy all of the great things like Division I sports and over 50 student clubs and organizations. But the big thing is the academics, the degree that you get. And they have over 100 degrees available, 100 degrees and minors and certificates, small class sizes, which I always appreciated at Lindenwood, a 15-to-1 student to teacher ratio. And the financial aid is wonderful. $12,500 in average financial awards per traditional UG Lindenwood student. So check it out. Go to lindenwood.edu. If you want you or your youngster to get a great education at a great price in the St. Louis area, do what I did. Do what Dan did. Go to Lindenwood University.
Hey, Chris Kerber here. And listen, happy Tuesday. Hope the holiday weekend was great. You've heard me talk about Classic Air Care now for a little while, and one of the reasons that I'm proud to be able to do so is the way they treat their employees. They've taken over some companies that maybe were about to head out of business. They've kept employees, and what they've done is they've allowed those employees that have come in from other companies not only to keep a logo on their shirt, the same original logo, but they keep their tenure. They make them part of their family right off the bat. And when you treat people like that, you know that when those are the people coming into your house to help with an air conditioning unit, with a heater, with your HVAC system, you know that they're going to take care of you because they were taken care of as well. That's quality. That's how you run a business. That's how you treat people. And that's what makes you proud to call Classic Air Care into your house. Check out the great amount of reviews they have, a 4.8 Google rating. The link is right on the top of their website for all their reviews at classicaircare.com. And as we head into the summer months, make sure that HVAC unit at home is cleaned up, it's ready to go, it's been checked out, and it's been looked at, so you know that it's going to be ready for the summer heat. And if you do need a repair, you know they're going to be right on your doorstep to help you quickly as well. Classic Air Care, call them today. Log online at classicaircare.com. They've been making people comfortable since 1926.
It's time for Curbside with the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Brooke, Dan, and Randy, and the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber, joins us now. He usually joins us on Monday, but with Monday being Memorial Day, he joins us on Taco Tuesday. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Randy, I'm doing well today. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was entranced by the Edmonton-Dallas game last night because I thought Edmonton dominated in the first, dominated in the third, but, man, they just couldn't accomplish much. And for as talented as that team is, I'm amazed that they can dominate like they do and not do more.
Yeah, it seems to me like they're that team that they're so talented up front, but then they just fall victim to just things like I don't think some of the saves last night were great. I think goaltending got them a little bit. Obviously, Robertson had a huge game, and what a player he is for being the 39th overall pick. I mean, you talk about a great pick in the second round, right? They're just. There's something that continues to look at with the Edmonton Oilers. They're just missing something, and to me, it's just a consistent predictability every single time they're touching the puck, and so it's one of the things that it shows that they're a good team. They're a Final Four team. But it could be one of the things that prevents them from getting to the mountaintop of the Stanley Cup final.
And by the way, whatever that it is, Dallas appears to have, I really don't give a whole lot of credence to anything that happened in the bubble. And I know they got to the finals in the bubble, but it doesn't matter who their coach is. And maybe I do have to give more credit to Ben and Sagan, because when we go back to 2018, Dallas has been pretty consistent with that it factor that you're talking about.
Well, they've built the team well. I think Jim Nill has to be looked at, obviously, as one of the top general managers in the league. I don't know if he'll win that award, in the end. But you look at the way that they've drafted, and one of the first moves he made was Sagan when he became general manager. And look, that's been a challenge, those two contracts for those two guys over the years. And one of the reasons is I think there was about 3 or 4 years in a row. At some point in time during the season, the owner of the Stars was calling his top two players out.
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but you know what he did? He really made some moves. You're sitting there, you're watching Klingberg play, and you're like, okay, he's about to become a free agent. This is a key piece of their defense, and he let him walk. And since then, Klingberg signed 1-year deals in places, right? Nothing really big. Heiskanen winds up being a huge pick. they've kept those depth players like their Ivan Barbashev, for example, has been like maybe a Reddick Foxa in the way he can play and what he's done. Essa Lindell, quietly I just think one of the good, solid defensemen in the league, that's been doing it now for a long time for the Dallas Stars. So then they go and they get Suter. But the big key for the Dallas Stars that put them back on track with what they needed, obviously, okay, so you get the draft picks and you got to have the Wyatt Johnston and the Jason Robertson. But they went out and they grabbed Joe Pavelski from the San Jose Sharks. Mm-hmm. But others thought he was old when the Sharks said he was done. And if you want to look at the one key move that gutted the San Jose Sharks and put them on a tailspin, it's when they decided to not keep Joe Pavelski. And look at what this guy has done since then. He's 39 years old. So this is – I keep talking about every now and then you're going to have to play in that sandbox. And well, the Dallas Stars did it. And to me, the key piece to the Dallas Stars that has kept them on track while the Robertsons and the Johnstons and the young guys have come along has been less about Sagan and Ben and, to me, more about Pavelski.
Good point.
Curbs, trade rumors, of course, happening right now. And one of those trade rumors is Brady Tkachuk. Do you think that the Senators will trade him? I know that sometimes it's just rumors, but sometimes where there's smoke, there is fire. Do you see any situation where the Senators will trade him? And could the Blues possibly be a landing spot?
Okay, well, let's go backwards on this one. If they are considering trading him, then I have to think that, yes, the St. Louis Blues, like 31 other teams, are going to be hot in to try and figure out how to make that happen. That type of player doesn't hit the trade market. Could they trade him? Yeah. Why in the hell would they? I mean, I have no idea. Like, yeah, look, I get the rumors, and I get the excitement, and maybe they're thinking, okay, we need more than one piece, and we've got to turn something around quickly, and maybe we get a haul that puts them over the edge. I mean, consider and look, and I will. There's two trades that I like to go back to that remind me every time that anything is possible. Okay, it was one, the Calgary Flames trading Brett Hull to the St. Louis Blues. That helped them win a cup, and then it was the Dallas Stars trading Jarome Iginla to the Calgary Flames. They got Nieuwendyk back, and that helped the Dallas Stars win a cup. Now, I don't think the Ottawa Senators are in the same position that the Calgary Flames were or that the Dallas Stars were when they made those moves. But there is a reminder that you can make franchise-changing, moves when you have those kind of opportunities. And those were two Hall of Famers I just mentioned. So, I guess it's possible. When you have that kind of player to build around, I think you just make smarter decisions and make sure you keep that guy.
Hey, Curbs, great to hear your voice. I'm curious what you thought on this front. Tom Stillman kind of made the rounds around the media. We had him on this show, and he was outstanding and very transparent in what he had to say with the state of the organization. Was there anything that caught your attention with some of the things that he had to say?
This may seem a little, fluffy, I guess, Dan, but he's just honest, and I think that the fans really appreciate that. I mean, you guys talked to him about, the Bally deal and what that could mean for the team. I mean, you talked to him about, what about making a move for a guy or something like that, and he says, look, we have a plan in place. He talked about Doug Armstrong, and he says, no, there's absolutely nothing, relating to the fact that, the timing of Doug Armstrong's contract and that we have to be at a certain point when this is done in 2 years, blah, 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 things along those kind of lines. The one thing that you'll get to know for those that have known Tom Stillman or get to know him when he was part of the Dave Checkett's ownership group, and he's just real honest. There is a way he wants his organizations run. There is a way he wants his franchise run. He is extraordinarily competitive. He desperately wants a second Stanley Cup, and that is the goal. I mean, he's made that very clear that the goal is to stay competitive and the goal is to make this happen. But I think fans are kind of comforted with his patience and the confidence that he's going to be able to get it done. I think that this is a bit of a challenge because there's different things you can argue, but in my opinion, you've got the best ownership group that the St. Louis Blues have ever had. And he runs it. It's got that family feel, the way that former players used to talk about the Solomons and and how they run it and how they cared about the players. And I believe that Tom is in that same mold there. But the success they've had, the product they put on, the growth of the game from the youth level on, the different events that this ownership group followed, and the leadership on the business side have brought in from even, another Frozen Four coming, and what we just saw with college hockey and the club hockey championships that were in town, all that stuff. It really is phenomenal, and I kind of believe, Dan, that people, when they hear him, he's earned the trust because he's just that honest. And so far, what he says seems to happen.
And Curbs, along those lines, on We Win Blues Day, obviously, we're going to be airing Game 7 on June 12th. But you, as an organization, the Blues, are going to be volunteering at places like Confluence Farms, Duo Dogs, Friends of Kids with Cancer, Girls on the Run, Kids Smart, Mary Grove, Operation Food Search and Stray Rescue. The Blues are so strong in the community, and that organizational-wide volunteer day on June 12th will be just another example of that.
Yeah, it's taking kind of that celebration of the team's first ever Stanley Cup championship, and it's taking it to another level of the reminder of what our role in the community is supposed to be. And if you guys remember, Randy, when Tom took over this team and this all local ownership group bought it, there's something to say. Like, he doesn't. You're not supposed to refer to him as owner of the team. He's chairman of the Blues ownership group. He doesn't look at himself that other way. And he said, we are just stewards of this great franchise, and we are the ones that are responsible for it in the moment. And he says, but we also have a role beyond just opening the doors, selling tickets, and putting on a hockey game. We have a role and an opportunity to play a bigger part in this community, and that is something that we want to be a part of. He wants Centerside Price Center to be an entertainment hub for the city, and he makes sure that everybody in his organization knows that nobody's bigger than the franchise, nobody's bigger than the game, and we've got to make sure that we give back to the people that allow us to bring great entertainment in, and that's what makes it such a great franchise right now to be a part of.
Curbs, great stuff as always. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Hope you guys had a great holiday weekend. Cheers. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Curbs. That's Chris Kerber, the voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. Oh, by the way, the Blues holding a trivia night on June 12th as well. We Win Blues Day at Enterprise Center. Tom Calhoun will ask the questions. Joey V is going to be the MC. I will be there, and I'm going to be helping out. And if you want to get information, all you need to do is go to stlblues.com. Tables of 10 for $300 and register before it's too late.
Do you know your role in this particular event?
Not completely, but I could find out.
I don't think they want him as a compete.
Yes. No, I'm not a competitor.
Okay.
I am not a competitor. We had a guy beat me. Did somebody beat me on Friday?
Yeah. Yes, Peter beat you on Friday, and we'll see if he's ready for round 2.
All right, Petey.
Round 2 coming up. The fight on 101 ESPN. Hey, St. Louis, get your exclusive City SC debit card from Together Credit Union. Together Credit Union is the only place to find this official fan debit card, which comes with special perks at City Park like a free lifetime My City Plus membership, in-stadium discounts on food and beverages and merchandise, and this is really exciting, express entry into City SC matches so you get through the gates faster than everybody else. And as a special bonus, Together Credit Union will also send you a commemorative print of City Park Stadium, the home of St. Louis City SC, while supplies last. How do you get the card? It's easy. Open any personal checking account online at togethercu.org or stop by any Together Credit Union branch. There are 14 of them in the St. Louis metro area. And choose the St. Louis City SC debit card at account opening. There's no cost for the City SC debit card, so don't wait. Sign up today and show your pride for St. Louis City SC with the St. Louis City SC debit card from Together Credit Union. Membership eligibility required, federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, it's Danny Mac on this Tuesday for Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, or if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things. Hey, let me make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, and he's going to help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table fast. How fast? Try 10 days, and he'll get you the best interest rate possible. He also has the bagel loan. That can help you out, too. You always hear us talk about the bagel loan. So what is it? If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewart is your guy. He makes it easy for you. He's made it very easy for our listeners of 101 ESPN. So any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewart a call, and you can call him directly on his personal cell phone. He'll pick up, or you can text him. Here's the number, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. And you know what to do. Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals fall to the Reds in Game 1 of their series. They'll go for a win tonight, 5:40 p.m. first pitch. Kyle Gibson facing off against the lefty for the Reds, Andrew Abbott. Over the weekend in the Western Conference Finals in the NHL playoffs, it is the Stars over the Oilers twice as they have taken a 2-1 lead in that series. And tonight in the Eastern Conference Finals, you can catch the Panthers and the Rangers Game 4 right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6:30. Rangers took games 2 and 3 on Friday and Saturday as they have a 2-1 lead in that series over the Panthers. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
The fight! In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Karraker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, and Rockio here, and it is time for the fight. And we have a returning fighter this Tuesday, and it is Peter. Peter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Monday on a Tuesday, so.
Okay, you can explain that because Rockio might be trying to throw you off here because he told you Monday, right?
He did, and then I turned on the app, and I was like, no, they're doing a replay show, but they're not calling me on Monday.
Well, you must have been shook up a little bit and maybe didn't enjoy your Memorial Day. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on you, Peter.
Game, Dan, thrown off my game.
Yeah, don't be thrown off. Just focus, get the puck deep, get in the dirty areas, and make this thing happen.
There you go. Are you ready for question number 1, Peter?
Yep.
All right, led by Bill Walton, who did the Blazers beat in the 1977 NBA Finals? Was it the Celtics, the Sixers, or the Bullets?
Let's see. Oh, Bullets, Washington Bullets. Wait, can you give the options again? I'm sorry.
Celtics, Sixers, or the Bullets?
Let's go with the Sixers.
Final answer there, Peter?
Final answer, 76ers.
Happy birthday to Johnny Peralta. Peralta made 3 All-Star games across his career, but only made multiple appearances with one team. Which team was it? Was it the Cardinals, the Indians, or the Tigers?
I believe that would be the Indians.
Final answer?
Final answer.
On to question 3.
There is one NFL division without a team that has ever been renamed or relocated. Which division is it? Is it the NFC North, the AFC East, or the NFC South?
Can you repeat those again?
NFC North, AFC East, or the NFC South?
AFC East.
Which one-time St. Louis Rams QB holds the NFL record for 300-yard games with different franchises with 7 different teams? Was it Case Keenum, Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Nick Foles?
Let's go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. 7 teams. That's got to be him.
All right, Peter, I'm going to go grab Randall.
How are you feeling, Peter?
I'm feeling okay.
Just okay?
Just okay. Better than usually not feeling great.
That's very true. Well, here comes Randy right now, trotting in with his grapes. It's an assortment of grapes today, and his Propel. Today it's green, and I saw some red ones.
Little
Randy.
red too, yep.
Spicing it up a little bit over there, huh?
Actually, it was just the end of 2 different bags, a bag of green grapes and a bag of red grapes. So I just mixed it up a little bit, and I discovered as I was eating them out there that I like the red ones better.
Yes!
Wow!
Yeah. Yep.
You always get the green grapes. What changed?
I don't know. I just decided with this particular batch. Now, you know what I don't like is the cotton candy ones.
Oh, well, we know about that. We know that you hate those things.
Yeah, I hate them. So the red grapes today are better.
Say hi to Peter again.
Peter, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well, Randy. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
Peter, very important question here. Red or green grapes?
Oh, I agree with the cotton candy thing is a misnomer because they're not very good. So I usually defer to green, or at least my son defers to green. So that's what matters.
Yeah, you got to listen to the sun.
Yes. You ready for question number 1, Randy?
Ready.
Led by Bill Walton, who did the Blazers beat in the 1977 NBA Finals?
1977. Let's see. Would that have been the Washington Bullets? 1977 NBA Finals. I think 78 might have been Washington. Knicks weren't that good then. Breck, I'll do the lifeline here just so that we can save some time. It's not going to be the Miami Heat.
Okay. Celtics, Sixers, or Bullets?
Celtics, Sixers, or Bullets. 78? I don't think the
77.
77. I don't think that was a Sixers year. I think I'll go with the Bullets.
Final answer, Randall?
Sure.
Question 2. Happy birthday to Johnny Peralta.
Johnny, the superfluous H.
Peralta made 3 All-Star games across his career, but only made multiple appearances with one team.
Huh.
Which team was it?
Well, let's see. You had the Detroit Tigers, you had the Cleveland Indians, and you had the St. Louis Cardinals. The superfluous H. He was really good. But he really only spent 2 quality years in St. Louis. I don't think that he made the All-Star game in both years. So I'm going to go with the Tribe, with the Cleveland Indians. I'll go with the Tribe.
On to question 3 we go.
There is one NFL division without a team that has ever been renamed or relocated. Which division is it?
One division that has never had a team that's been renamed or relocated. So this would include that's interesting because like the Seattle Seahawks have never been renamed or relocated, nor have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're in separate divisions.
As in, there's no team, as in all 4 teams in the division have never been renamed or relocated.
Okay.
There's only one division that has no team that has never been relocated or renamed.
So we have had the Pittsburgh Steagles in the AFC North. So Browns, Bengals, obviously the Ravens have been relocated. So let's go to the AFC South where the Colts have been relocated, as have the Titans. Let's go to the AFC West where the Chargers have been relocated. And the AFC East, you got the Patriots. The Jets have been renamed. They were the Titans and became the Jets. So we have to move to the NFC where you've got the Lions, Vikings, Bears, and Packers. I think you got it there. But let's just be sure. By the process of elimination in the NFC West, you've had that happen, obviously, with the Rams. In the NFC South, you've had the Panthers, Falcons, Saints, and Bucks. Those none of those 4 have ever moved or been renamed. So I'm guessing you're probably talking like the Lions were, or no, the Bears have. Yeah, they didn't start in Chicago. And then you've got the Cowboys. Redskins have been renamed. So I'm going to say that the Falcons, Panthers, Saints, and Bucks all started in those cities, and none of them have been renamed. Panthers started as the Carolina Panthers. Falcons started as the Atlanta Falcons. Saints started as the New Orleans Saints. And Bucks started as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I will go with the NFC South as my division.
Which one-time St. Louis Ram QB holds the NFL record for 300-yard games with 4 different franchises, with 7 different teams?
7 different teams. 300-yard games with 4 different franchises. Well,
I don't know how the four got in there. It's just 300-yard games with 7 different teams. He's the only one to ever do it, which...
Well, there's and he was definitely a St. Louis Ram, but he wasn't a Los Angeles Ram. I think the only guy that fits that profile would be Gus Frerotte, who I think Gus and Chris Chandler are tied for the most teams played for in NFL history. Gus probably did it for Washington, Detroit, good, St. Louis, Denver.
You want me to reread the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one-time St. Louis Ram QB holds the NFL record for 300-yard games with different franchises?
Yeah.
With 7 different teams.
He's thrown for 300 yards with 7 different teams.
Basically is what we're saying.
Okay, you know what? I changed my mind. I was going to go with Gus, but I'm going to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay. I want to make sure I ask the question properly.
Okay.
So you're going Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, I'll go with Fitzmagic.
Got it. Matthew, do your thing.
Oh, we got to go with tiebreaker. Nicely done, Randy. We got to go to a tiebreaker. So, Peter, here are the rules here. I'm going to read out the question. We're going to get Randy Karraker a moment to write down his answer. And then, Peter, we will let you answer the question. And whoever is closest to the pin is going to be walking away with this victory. Peter, do you understand those rules?
I do.
Randy Karraker, do you understand those rules?
I do understand the rules, Matthew.
Do you have paper?
I have paper. Lindenwood paper.
Nice.
Oh,
All
he
right.
always has paper.
Here we go.
Paper grips.
Across
Propel.
Across his final 2 years in high school and his first 3 years at UCLA, plus a little bit almost of his fourth, Bill Walton never lost a competitive basketball game. Across those almost 5 years, how many straight games did his team win? Across his final 2 years in high school and his first 3 years at UCLA, plus a lot of his fourth, Bill Walton never lost a competitive basketball game. Across those over 5 years, how many straight games did his teams win?
Hold on here. I'll throw this number out there.
All right. We have a guess from Randy Karraker. All right. Peter, what is your guess, sir?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Let's go with 139.
Peter guesses 139. Randy Karraker, what is your guess, sir?
My guess is 129, Matthew.
Your guess is 129?
Yeah, the 88 at UCLA, plus I figured 98, 108, 118, 120.
All right, I got to do a little math here. This is a close one. We have a winner in today's fight. Does Peter move on to a potential Hall of Fame opportunity tomorrow, or does Randy Karraker stop him in his tracks after a little extra rest over the weekend? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Congratulations, Peter. Nicely done on the tiebreaker. You just barely edged out Randy Karraker. Randy's guess was 129. Your guess was 139. Bill Walton won 142 straight games without losing. He won 49 straight to close out his high school career. He won 20 straight on the freshman team because obviously he couldn't play on the varsity team back then. Then they won back-to-back 30 wins in a row, and then they started off their next season with 13 straight before Notre Dame would then eventually beat them 71-70 for 142 straight games. So congratulations, Peter. You win the fight today. Nicely done.
Thank you very much. I did not follow or understand that divisional question for the NFL, so I got very lucky there.
Yeah. We'll go through the questions and answers there. Led by Bill Walton, the Blazers beat the Philadelphia Sixers in the 1976-1977 NBA Finals. Bill Walton, one of his things was, I beat Dr. J. You like to just tell people that's that one little thing, I beat Dr. J. Happy birthday to the superfluous H, Johnny Peralta. He made 3 All-Star games across his career, but he only made multiple appearances with one team. 2 out of his 3 years in Detroit, he was an All-Star, and that was the team there. In fact, the funny thing with the Cardinals is he made the All-Star game his second year here. His first year here, he finished top 15 in MVP voting, but did not make an All-Star team.
How about that?
Did not make an All-Star team. One NFL division without a team that has ever been renamed or relocated. It is, in fact, the NFC South. Nicely done there, Randy. The Decatur Staleys were what the Chicago Bears started off as, and then, of course, you got the one in the AFC East. The Titans of New York is what the New York Jets actually started as, so there's 2 changes in there. And it is, in fact, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the one-time St. Louis Ram quarterback, who holds the NFL record for 300-yard games with 7 different franchises. A 2-2 tie took us to the tiebreaker, and it was Bill Walton's career winning streak, 142 games. Congratulations to Peter again. We will talk to him tomorrow on The Fight.
Looking forward to that. Peter, good job. Coming up next here on 101 ESPN, in 88 at-bats at Memphis, Jordan Walker still hasn't hit a home run. But with the Cardinals' recent surge, does that allow them to keep him in the minors until he's completely ready? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're thinking of selling your home, this message is for you. If you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted sales agent, take it from me and get to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's why you should call, because Gloria's name is her promise and says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed. Does your agent compare? Gloria has solutions for every type of home seller. For sellers who want a fast sale with no hassles, Gloria's 24-hour cash offer solution is a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers in what she calls her cash offer bid box. Get to know Gloria Liu. Give her a call at 314-325-6888, 314-325-688, or visit her on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria Liu, the best sales agent in the area at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Cardinals offense certainly picked things up during their most recent homestand when they went 7-1, and they moved to within 2 games of 500 following yesterday's loss in Cincinnati. And in 22 games and 88 bats in Memphis, Jordan Walker still hasn't hit a home run, only has a couple of doubles, a 273 average with a 687 OPS. If the Cardinals were inclined to bring Jordan Walker back, maybe for his bobblehead night on June 6th, despite what his numbers were, I wonder if the performance of the team, if the Cardinals might think, okay, the main thing is the main thing. Let's make this all about baseball and allow Jordan Walker to marinate at the AAA level and get better before they bring him back.
I think so. I think that if you're going to bring him back, he's got to be here to stay. Now, we've said that before, but you had the 5-game winning streak. You got 10 wins in the last 13. Win both against the Cubs. Goldschmidt starting to pick things up. Ryan Helsley leading the league in saves. There's a lot of things that you can look at as positives, but again, you can't sit him when he comes up. He's got to play. Mm-hmm. And if the numbers aren't there, and he's got 7 extra base hits down in Memphis, no home runs, as you mentioned, that probably doesn't play right now in Major League Baseball.
No home runs in his last 217 plate appearances dating back to last season. So that's the thing with Jordan Walker, is that he does have to be able to do that. You need that power in the outfield. I think another thing the Cardinals are probably balancing here is that you have a pretty good outfield right now. 1, hitting-wise, some things are going, and then also 2, defensively, they're doing pretty well out there. Would you want to mess with this kind of ecosystem that you created with the outfield currently?
I think that's the key. I think you have to concern yourself, like I said at the beginning, the main thing is the main thing. Concern yourself with what's going on with your major league team, and don't politicize his recall. Make it all about baseball.
And if he's raking, though, down in the minor leagues, if he starts going on a tear, let's say a 2-3 week tear, and some of the things that they're wanting him to do, he's figuring it out, then bring him back up. But, you know, I look at, like you said, Brooke, the synergy that you have in the outfield. Look at the play that Lars Nootbaar made in the day game just a few days ago. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure many guys make that play, and he's very good defensively. And so, yeah, I just got to wait till I see a little bit more power, more extra base hits. And, again, I'm not bringing him up unless he's playing.
There's a big thing. He's got a 364 slug this year at AAA, and that was before he got here, where his slug was awful as well. He's hitting 155, so he's got to improve. And power, if he doesn't have any home runs, he's not hitting for power. For a guy that is regarded like he is, he needs to hit for big-time power.
And I think we all believe this right now because we discussed this a little bit earlier. Now, when we're talking about this, we're not saying we're giving up on Jordan Walker, because when it comes to trade talks, I know that we've discussed that. If the Braves, would they be looking for Jordan Walker, especially with the situation going on right now that they have injury-wise? This is not, the Cardinals should not be giving up on him. It's just more of the situation in hand, correct?
Yeah, but if you're another team, and Jim Bowden said this about the Royals, if he were the Royals, he would call and ask about Walker, and I think that just makes sense. With him struggling here, struggling at AAA, being down there, and your outfield performing at a reasonable level right now, if I'm another team, I'm calling the Cardinals about Jordan Walker and seeing if I can get him.
And if I'm the Cardinals, I hang up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. He's 22.
Yeah, you can check in on any player and say, hey, is he available? You know, just what's going on in the organization, and maybe you have issues with the player, both physically and how he's handling himself, which I don't think is the case with Jordan Walker. Yeah, and if I'm John Mozeliak, I said, thanks for the call. Click.
And by the way,
it's true.
Tampa was all over Randy Arozarena when he went to Mexico and wanted him and weren't able to sign him as an amateur free agent. And then because they made the call, they were able to get the guy. They didn't make the call with any expectation that they could get he and Jose Martinez for Matthew Liberatore, but they did. Sometimes you get surprised when you make a phone call.
Click.
That's the thing. You have to hang up. Yeah. And of course, like you said, Dan, teams are going to call. Of course they are. But the Cardinals, he's 22 years old. There's no way. Just because of what's happening currently right now, that doesn't mean you should give up on him, because you have to have your first rounders work out.
Yeah. By the way, back in my day, there was a situation just like that. And Dan, I don't know if you were, no, I don't think you were with me at the Big 550. But the Cardinals were interested, and there were rumors about them acquiring a pitcher from the Reds. Jim Bowden was the general manager, named Pete Harnish. And Walt called Jim Bowden.
He was good.
He was good. And said, what would it take to get Pete Harnish? And Bowden said, well, would you give us Ankiel? And Walt literally did hang up on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's 22, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cardinals look at him as being a big part of the future, and there's no chance he's going. I mean,
no,
they'd have to be blown away. And I don't even know if they were blown away, they'd still do it.
I don't think you could get him out of their cold, dead hands.
Oh, no, Randy, don't say that.
No.
Don't say that. Okay. Hopefully that will never be uttered again. I think this is, if we have just one last little question here from the text line, 314. If Walker remembers how to hit, trade, Nolan put Walker back at third. Now, I do think that there's a good question kind of lying within this with what that texter put in. With Walker, do you see him staying in the outfield for the rest of his career?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I think he has the skill set to be a really good outfielder. I don't know what he is as a third baseman. I don't know if you'd best use his talents.
That's what I'm saying.
Physically, if he was a first baseman. So I could see him staying out there, but I could also see the Cardinals moving him.
Yeah, anything's on the table.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on the future of Arenado, future of Goldschmidt. He could move to the infield, see how he reacts to that, but I don't think they want to mess with him in the outfield. I think that's where he's going to be long term.
And he should have been there in Double-A, his last year in Double-A, so that he wouldn't have had to deal with what he dealt with last year.
Tough to learn on the fly in the big leagues.
It sure is. That's Dan, that's Brooke, I'm Randy. Coming up, our Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Onderlaw, voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis. We know how to handle the insurance companies, and we'll make sure you're compensated for physical, emotional, and financial injuries. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onderlaw today for a free review. 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9 all zeros.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here for Decor Interiors and Jewelry. I know that Mother's Day has passed, but that doesn't mean that the gift giving has to stop. So you should go and visit my friends over at Decor Interiors and Jewelry. It's in Chesterfield at Olive and Woods Mill Road. Right when you walk in, you will just be blown away by all the options that they have. If you don't already know, I know that it's in the name, but Decor Interiors and Jewelry is 2 stores in one, a contemporary furniture store and, of course, an amazing jewelry store in the back. The owner, Joe, he is so kind, he is so nice, and he will really treat you like family. That's where I got my wedding ring at, and that's where I get so many compliments about it, and I tell them about Decor. And recently I went by because I had to go get my wedding band, and I got sidetracked because Joe and I just went over and looked at everything that he has right now, and Joe really does know his diamonds and gems, and his staff, they're so knowledgeable. They'll really teach you about what you're purchasing. What's really big right now? Diamond tennis bracelets and necklaces. Joe and his staff, they are just so helpful, and that's where you should go to help find that perfect gift for that special person in your life. Go stop by Decor showroom today and tell them I sent you. Decor, always unique, always affordable.
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Shower reset.
It is 9:04, coming up on 9:05 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. 9:05 in 3, 2, 1. Woof. 9:05 here at 101 ESPN in St. Louis. Brooke, Dan, and Randy. Cardinals back in action tonight. Kyle Gibson will go for the Redbirds and try to get him back on the winning track after falling yesterday 3-1 at the So-So American Ballpark in Cincinnati.
In the what ballpark?
The So-So American Ballpark?
Yeah.
Or the Great American Small Park, whatever you want to call it.
I'd say don't sleep on the Reds just yet. The Reds are 9-6 now against the Cardinals, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. I was looking this up last night. They're 15-24 against everybody else. Don't sleep on the Redlegs just yet.
They have a centerpiece player now. And Joey Votto was a centerpiece player, but he couldn't do all the things that L.A. De La Cruz can.
I'm not sure anybody else can either.
I don't think so either. But he's
pretty darn good.
He can win games in a lot of ways for you. And the Cardinals obviously will have their hands full. Walked a couple of times yesterday. Only has a .245 batting average, but .347 on base, .448 slug, and steals a bunch of bases. He does everything.
He's like must-watch TV for me.
Yes, yeah. And you just know that the threat is there with him. Do you think that gets into the pitchers' heads a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
and that's
his
what I
speed
like.
a lot.
Yeah.
I looked at the game yesterday, and the bottom of the lineup just didn't get it done for the Cardinals. They went 1 for 16, 5 through 9. You had the errors by the two guys that have 14 Gold Gloves between them. That was something that stood out. I think the fact that Arenado is 3 for his last 20, only has 1 double, is being a bit overshadowed by Goldie. Arenado is 6 extra base hits in May. So there's some things that they need to clean up going into Game 2 tonight. But it's hard to It's hard to knock them for what they've done the last 12 games, playing very good baseball.
Yeah, especially on that homestand. I do have a question for you guys because obviously a lot of stuff to go over the weekend, but Sonny Gray, he was pitching really well, and I thought the comments were really interesting that Katie Wu of The Athletic has, where Ollie Marmol made the call to lift Sonny after 5 innings. Gray was having a hard time getting his lower body in sync. Marmol felt comfortable with the arms available from the pen. Did that concern you guys in any way, or do you just have any questions about Sonny Gray and his status right now?
It's interesting. I mean, that's the second time that I'm sure Sonny Gray has probably not liked his physical situation. Remember, he took himself out of the one game, and then I thought maybe something was underlying and they weren't making that available publicly, but he goes back out 5 days later and makes that start. He's had issues with the lower half. That would be of concern for me moving forward. Yeah,
had the hamstring injury, only threw 74 pitches, but it's something that they just need to get synchronized, and why risk injury? If he's not feeling it, and he was still fine, but if he's not feeling it in terms of the synchronicity of his body and his mechanics, then get him out of there and get it fixed. Could do a little side session, a little bullpen, and get him ready for the next one.
I mean, it was a one-hit Jim, right? Over 5 innings and 8 strikeouts. But I just thought it was very interesting that Ollie noticed something with his lower body. At this point, they could just be overly cautious too, because you can't lose Sonny Gray at this point.
And they had, in that particular game, they had the bullpen arms available.
That's the other thing I was going to point out. You had the off day, and they've had a few off days here mixed in because of the rain, and that made sense. I mean, you could go to your bullpen, should have been rested, and should be able to go.
Yep. Tonight, 24-year-old left-hander Andrew Abbott goes for Cincinnati. He is 3-4 with a 2.68. And he's another one of those guys. They've got some young pitching in Cincinnati, and he's another guy to keep an eye on.
I think the big question moving forward, too, is what do you do with your fifth starter if you're the Cardinals? I think Liberatore goes to the pen. Wouldn't shock me if Palante gets that start. Seems like that's the direction they go into, but as the Cardinals move forward, and I think you're right, Randy, when you said this earlier, it's not just your 5, it's your 4 and your 5, and interchangeable parts in Michaelis and whomever you want to put in that spot. But there's some concern right there in the back end of your rotation.
Yeah, I think it also says a lot, too, that they don't have a pitcher available. We were talking about pitching depth in the minors, and if there was somebody they felt like was ready, they would have already called him up by now, wouldn't they have?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, outside of Palante, of course. I'm talking about one of the younger ones.
Absolutely. It'd be shocking to me if Palante didn't get the start tomorrow.
Yeah, he's going to get the start. Yeah. And see what he apparently he stretched out, if need be, to go well over 100 pitches. I'll be curious to see what he does against right-handed batters. And if he's made an adjustment against righties. He can get lefties, he's got reverse splits, but we talked about it earlier. He has made starts. He's got 10 starts in his career. But I look at the defensive shift ban and how much that hurt him because he gets a ton of ground balls, how much that hurt him moving forward from last year to this year, and some of the lack of success that he had. So we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell.
They need it to work out because I like Matthew Liberatore in the bullpen. I think that's where he is at his best. And the bullpen also needs reinforcements at this point. So it would be huge to be able to have Liberatore coming out of the pen again.
NBA Jason Tatum and the Celtics on their way back to the finals after eliminating Indiana last night. They sweep the 4-game series. In the NHL, Dallas over Edmonton 5-3. They lead that series 2-1. And we have Game 4 between the Rangers and Panthers tonight. Rangers lead the series 2-1. Panthers at New York, this one is in Florida, and the pregame comes your way at 6:30 here on 101 ESPN.
The Celtics won by 3 or 4 points in 3 of the games.
Yep, and they were down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, those were tight games. So do you look at the Celtics as being untested going into the NBA Finals? And they're going to have a lot of time off. I don't think they tip off until June 6th for Game 1. That's a lot of time off.
Yeah, I think that's fair because Halliburton wasn't there. Rick Carlisle did a great job of keeping his group together and competing when they didn't have their best player. But Charles Barkley said it the other night, Boston really has not played anybody.
Yeah.
The West is clearly the class of the league. But when I look at the matchups, I like the matchups that Boston has either against Dallas, if it should be them, or Minnesota. I really like their matchup if they play Minnesota.
Dallas, 5 seed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What a story they've turned into here in this postseason.
It's the way to go now in the NBA. If you have veteran players just kind of play cruise control until you get to the playoffs.
Yeah, even though they didn't have Halliburton, they were able to still lead in that, and they just blew it again in the fourth quarter with the Pacers. So I think that says a lot about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a new NBA now. No Curry, no LeBron, no Durant.
It's weird.
It's a new group of players, yeah. And hopefully before the series is over, that a guy like Anthony Edwards will be able to have one huge game for Minnesota because he hasn't been great so far.
I think Jason Tatum has just flown right under the radar.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still putting up a lot of great numbers. And you look at what he did in their first series, he absolutely dominated. He had one of the most dominating series that you can have. No one talks about it, but then you keep hearing about, like, this is his legacy. He's got to do this for his legacy. Guy's a great player, man. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but Kevin Harlan was with us. This was pre-pandemic. So we're talking 5 years ago. And we asked him about Tatum, and he thought then that Jason Tatum was a top 5 player in the league.
He should be considered that way.
Both ends of the floor?
Yeah.
Totally, no doubt about it.
Do you think that it's just because maybe media-wise people view him as not as exciting?
Yeah, I think so. He's not spectacular,
flashy.
right? He's not.
Yeah.
He's not what LeBron is or was. Yeah, he just gets the job done, averages 30 a game in the playoffs.
And I don't see anything wrong with that, but it almost feels like sometimes that's what the conversation turns into, is that he's just not what people maybe want him to be.
Well, Kyrie Irving is a bigger star because Kyrie Irving, now he's sensational. He's one of the best players in the history of the game, but he's exceptionally flashy. But really, Kyrie he made one huge shot. Otherwise, he rode the coattails of LeBron to his championship. That's the only difference between those two players right now. So we'll have more of the NBA as we go along as well here on 101 ESPN. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, Bill Walton passed away yesterday at the age of 71. There's some great Bill Walton stuff out there, and we're going to talk about it next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. While the rain didn't stop the Cardinals from picking up 2 wins against the Cubs this past weekend at Busch Stadium, going 7-1 on the homestand, the late night bled over to a tough start to the road trip with the Cardinals' 5-game winning streak coming to a close with a 3-1 loss to the Reds yesterday. Their only run came on a first-inning home run from Paul Goldschmidt. Lance Lynn going 6 innings and allowing 1 earned run, reducing his ERA to 3.45. The Cardinals and Reds are back in action today. First pitch is at 5:40 with Kyle Gibson on the mound.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Here comes St. Louis, and if you're running a fast-growing business in our town, you need to listen up. NetSuite's Business Grows Here event is coming to St. Louis on Thursday, June 27th, and you don't want to miss it. Why St. Louis? Because NetSuite knows St. Louis is a hub for entrepreneurs with forward-thinking founders, a top talent pool, and pro-business leadership. Apply to attend the business event of the year, taking place at the Union Station Hotel on Tuesday, June 27th. You're going to learn how Missouri is paving the way for new business growth and capital. See how technology fueled by AI is shaping the way we grow and run our businesses. And you'll be inspired by business leaders like Jamie Siminoff. He is the founder of Ring Video Doorbell, and he headquartered his next company right here in St. Louis. NetSuite by Oracle. Business Grows Here is free to attend if you qualify. Apply right now to find out because seats are going quickly. Block out your calendar for Thursday, June 27th. Apply at netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NetSuite, NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri.
I'm the luckiest dude in the world, man. I was born into a world of hope, optimism, peace, love, books, and music. I found basketball when I was 8 years old, 3 years after I found my bike. And then, just 1 year later, I found Chick Hearn on the radio, and that changed everything for me. When I was 37, I found the woman of my dreams, Lori, the greatest everything ever. She's not a thing, but I can't think of a better word than everything. We have 6 children, 14 grandchildren. I am the luckiest guy in the world.
And the vision to somehow acquire Boris Dio. And when you look at Boris Dio, what he's done to this franchise, he's changed everything. And as we celebrate his brilliance, and when you talk to Boris Dio, what a classical human being he is. It was 201 years ago today that Beethoven's Symphony No. 3 in E-flat, which escorted in the age of romanticism in music. And when I look at Boris Dio, I think of Beethoven in the age of the Romantics. This guy has got it all.
Getting lost, that implies that I know where I am to begin with. And that's a giant leap of faith.
And when they bring that high, hard one in, I stand in and lean back and then just bam. And it sails away out through the universe like a radio wave that goes past Saturn and Jupiter, Pluto, through the black hole, and into many other galaxies yet named. White Sox and Angels at the Diamond in the park.
This is your first ever baseball game doing this job, right?
This is a job? I understand that it starts and then you play, but that the offense can't touch the ball, and that the defense goes first, and that there's no time limits, and you just go until somebody says it's over. Sounds very much like a Dead show.
It's a timeless game.
I love timelessness. You're timeless.
The great Bill Walton passed away yesterday at the age of 71. Perhaps the greatest NCAA tournament game by an individual ever happened in 1973 at the St. Louis Arena. Walton going 21 of 22, 44 points to lead UCLA to the victory. And by the way, dunking wasn't allowed in those days.
There was four more hoops he could add.
Yeah, he would have gone 25 of 26, but he was called for offensive goaltending 4 times because of dunks.
He also had 7 blocks in that game. But the one that stood out to me, I remember reading more about this game a few years ago, but you forget that dunking was outlawed, and he would have had 8 more points on top of his 44 that he had. He had, I think, 13 or 14 rebounds in that game, too.
Yeah, beat Memphis in the championship game at the old arena, and he was just... He was a wonderful human being. He got down to Busch Stadium a few times, and... obviously, he was here recently for the college basketball, the awards at the MAC, and just, as you heard there, a really fun guy to listen to.
He really was, and I think that that's the thing that, of course, that I remember most about him is a Hall of Famer, but also it felt like you really got to know him through his broadcasting career. It felt like he was just sunshine in human form, and you could tell that it was genuine, because sometimes you wonder with some broadcasters, you're like, oh, I wonder if they're this nice or this cool in person. Don't you think that if you met Bill Walton, which I don't know if you guys have before or not, but you felt like he was going to be the same type of person, and he just felt like a free spirit, totally fun. You never knew what he was going to say. For those late night Pac-12 games, he was the reason that you would stay up and watch those, because he just made it so fun and interesting, and he never held anything back. And also his love for Grateful Dead.
I was thinking of like the best centers ever. He had 40 surgeries, by the way, so who knows if he stays a little bit healthier, you know, where the numbers would be. But I was thinking like Kareem, Wilt, Shaq. I'd put Bill Russell in there. Patrick Ewing I would put in there. David Robinson I would put in this guy. I mean, like top 10 centers of all time. I'd put Moses Malone.
Moses Malone?
Thank you. It's one of those tongue-tied moments I just had. But I would put all those guys in the top 10, and certainly I'd put him in the top 10 all time.
And with what he had to deal with from a physical standpoint, he only played 435 games in the NBA.
40 surgeries, Randy.
Right, yeah. If he would have had to deal with that. And by the way, his feet hurt for a long time, and he missed his first couple of seasons with Portland. They finally got it right as they could. And he said in an interview, I just assumed everybody's feet always hurt.
Right.
But when you think about, he had the MVP season in Portland, and then another rough go with the Clippers, and then the one season in Boston, and then 2 seasons more of injury and torment. But man, if he would have been healthy for half the games that he missed, we wouldn't have any question at all that he'd be in the top 10 of all time.
Yeah, and to Brooke's point, I would stay up and watch those Pac-12 games, because you never, like you said, you never knew it was going to come out of his mouth. Yeah. And the play's going up and down the floor. There's no description of the play, and he's going for 2 minutes on some, going off on some tangent. That makes it fun.
Yeah. Now, he was obviously a basketball icon. Before yesterday's game between Indiana and Boston, Rick Carlisle, the Pacers coach, was asked if he had any reminiscences of Bill Walton.
Bill really likes our team, liked the way we played, and I have him to thank probably also for me being married to my wife, Donna. Our first date was to a Dead show in Washington, D.C., and I called Bill, and I said, look, this is 1987. I got a date with a girl that I think is pretty cool. I'd love to go to the Dead show at Capitol Center. I don't have any tickets. Can you help? And he said, just go to the back door, ask for Dennis McAnally, tell him you're Rick Carlisle from the Boston Celtics, and everything will be just fine. The whole thing ended up working out. I walked back up the loading dock ramp with 2 all-access laminates. One said Bill Walton and one said Susie Walton. And so we were set up for the show, and we were actually on stage watching the show. And during the break, we just kind of wandered into the back and just opened up a door, and ended up sitting down with Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir, and Mickey Hart for about 15 minutes. Anyway, I'm thankful to him. I know there's been a lot of talk today about what he meant to the whole world. To me, he was a living, breathing event in history, just walking around. He was
What a great line there at the end. A living, breathing event in history.
Oh my word. What a story that was. And what a beautiful story. And there's so many stories. Just looking at social media this weekend, it's hard losing him. But then seeing the stories start to pour in from people who have had just so many great encounters with him, I think speaks to who he is and who he was as a person. And that's the legacy I think everyone will remember. And we're talking about, with him as a broadcaster, I think that's the way that sports is meant to be consumed, is to have fun. And he just always had fun with the games, made it, sometimes he wouldn't even talk about the games, but it was just kind of like how you would have conversation with friends, and he made you feel like you were his friend.
2 state titles, too. 2 national championships, and then the NBA obviously was a winner there and wins the MVP. The other thing that was interesting is that he went back to Portland, and that wasn't a great situation when he left, and he went back to Portland and apologized. He said, I wish things would have changed here. I wish I would have handled the situation differently. And that takes guts to do something like that. I always respected him for doing that, too.
Yep. One more thing, for all of that vociferousness, all of that talking, you talk about going for 3 minutes during a broadcast. He stuttered. He overcame a stutter to talk as much as he did.
I always just think of the Grateful Dead, too. He's like following them around the country and doing his thing. And I always look at, do you remember his reaction in the Celtics championship with him waving a towel? I always envision that picture, too. I don't know why, but I always think about that with him on the sidelines.
He was something. Bill Walton passing away yesterday at the age of 71. Next up, Ronald Acuña tore his ACL on Sunday. He's out for the season. How much does that hurt the Braves? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want you to know how you can better connect with potential clients. In today's fast-paced world of digital marketing, making meaningful connections with your audience can be a daunting challenge for any business. But that's why 2060 Digital exists. It's a place where connections aren't just made, but they're nurtured for growth. At 2060 Digital, a sister company of 101 ESPN, they will enhance your ability to connect with your clients through the digital space and through the social media space. You need to look no further than 2060 Digital with their 12 years of expertise and specializing in simplifying the digital marketing space. All you need to do is get in touch with them at 101ESPN.com/2060Digital, 101ESPN.com/2060Digital, and whether it's enhancing your brand's online presence, optimizing digital campaigns, or increasing customer engagement, 2060 is there to help and there to propel your business forward. Thinking your business needs room to, or has room to grow? Get in touch with 2060 Digital today.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals fall 3-1 in their first game against the Reds. Game 2 tonight, 5:40 first pitch. It'll be the righty for the Cardinals, Kyle Gibson, facing off against a lefty for the Reds, Andrew Abbott. Abbott on the season 3-4 with a 2.68 ERA. In the NHL playoffs last night, the Dallas Stars over the Oilers 5-3 as they take a 2-1 lead in that series. You can catch Panthers and Rangers Game 4 right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6:30. In the NBA playoffs, the Eastern Conference Finals are done as the Boston Celtics sweep the Indiana Pacers with a 105-104 Game 4 victory. T-Wolves and Mavericks have their Game 4 tonight, also 7:30 p.m. Mavericks will be looking for a sweep. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I was just thinking of something.
The awful news on tonight that reigning National League MVP Ronald Acuña completely tore his left ACL and he's out for the season. And with the earlier loss of Spencer Strider to Tommy John surgery, a team that was a favorite along with the Dodgers to represent the National League in the World Series has taken some major hits, especially with the way that the Phillies are playing and pitching. Not only does it hurt the Braves, but I think it hurts baseball. The Braves are a popular team because going all the way back to the Superstation. Now you lose their top player and MVP, one of the most exciting players in baseball, and one of the most electrifying pitchers. This is really a hit for baseball to lose Ronald Acuña.
And I think that's the thing is that it's huge. First of all, seeing the way that went down, you could just feel for him in that moment. He was in so much pain. Hate to see that happen because that's the thing is that he does bring a lot of attention to baseball, so it hurts them in that aspect. But as for how it hurts the Braves, it does hurt them. But doesn't it kind of feel like they will be fine? They will still find a way to do well and win?
Well, they'll put Ozzie Albies at the leadoff spot more than likely. I would think they go in that direction. And then Adam Duvall will play more. Mm-hmm. Jared Kelenic will play more. So you have a chance for those guys to kind of establish themselves in the everyday lineup. I'd be on the phone. I said this earlier. I'd be on the phone with the White Sox and maybe look at Tommy Pham. You know, there's some candidates out there, but Tommy Pham would be somebody I'd take a look at. They still have a good rotation. They got Charlie Morton. They got Max Fried. They got Chris Sale. They got Lopez. Morton is 40 years old, but Strider, that loss That's a big one. I don't think it's as big as Acuña, but it's awfully big, man. That's your number one starter, number one player, reigning MVP out. But the Braves seem to find a way to win. And looking at the Braves, I believe they're only 6 games back. They're 9 games above 500. So they can weather the storm, but that's a huge hit for them and a huge hit for baseball. Tommy Pham is a really great call because it seems like wherever he goes, he actually does make a huge difference. We saw that with the Diamondbacks, and also I forgot what the record was statistically when he went over to the White Sox, but he's actually helped improve them. It seems like he brings the right balance of veteran presence in there and experience where you could put him in that situation. You didn't mention Marcell Ozuna, Dan.
Yeah,
I know he's been exclusively DHing, but what about a throwback to Marcell Ozuna in the outfield?
He's their offense right now.
I know. He's hitting .310. He's got 15 home runs, and at last check, I think he's got either 45 or 47 runs batted in.
47.
Is it 47? And an OPS that's pretty high, too, obviously. So, yeah, he has been what has carried them offensively. Going back to your original point, Randy, I think it's terrible for baseball.
Yeah.
When you lose a guy that is that athletic and you stop and watch when he's on base, you stop and look at his arm in the outfield, you look at the ground that he covers, the fact that he hits for power, it's a terrible thing for baseball.
He's a 40-70 guy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you don't see those guys falling off trees, man.
By the way, last year, Matt Olson hit 51 home runs. A third of the way through the season, he has 8. Austin Riley only has 3 home runs this year. They aren't getting great offensive production out of Michael Harris. He's got a .678 OPS this year. Albies only has 3 home runs. So even the guys that are healthy aren't producing at a high level for Atlanta. Their offense has kind of been like the Cardinals' offense was.
If you ask me, who are the top 5 players I want to watch, he's in my top 5.
Acuña?
Yeah.
Who else is in your top 5? Because now I'm curious.
Ellie De La Cruz. I would look at him. I would look at the shortstop with Pittsburgh. I would look over in
you just remember the name Cruz.
Yeah.
You're good.
Aaron Judge would be in my top 5 that I want to watch play, and Juan Soto. And those would probably be my top 5 of the guys I'd like to play like to watch play.
Are the Yankees your favorite team to watch play?
No,
right
they're
now?
not. I will say this, though. The Yankees did not do the City Connects.
Yep.
And they
that's
kept
so interesting.
The tradition of the Yankee uniform, I kind of like that.
I like it too. It makes sense for them to do that. I would be interested to see what it would possibly look like if they did one, but I like that they kind of stick to their guns with their tradition, because we've talked about that, and Aracchio is shaking his head over there because the haircuts, no beard. I know that sometimes that's controversial, but I like that there's at least one team that kind of sticks to those traditional values.
Some people don't like traditional values.
Most cake-eating franchise in the Major League Baseball. It's a joke. Don't cut your hair. Earn the pinstripes. The fans even buy in on this BS. I hate it so much.
Did you just cut your
will do that for
cake-eating franchise is what it is. A bunch of cake eaters.
Cake eaters. What's that mean?
Just kidding.
They win a lot?
Yeah.
Did you cut your hair this weekend? Speaking of cutting hair, did you cut?
And it fell out.
It looks like you cut your hair,
it fell out,
and
but
you don't have a beard
It
either.
fell out. I can't grow a beard. Thanks for driving that stake a little bit deeper there, Brooke.
I didn't know that. I just thought you like to be clean-shaven, just like your favorite team, the Yankees. Apparently.
Hell no. They should be tried for war crimes what they did to Johnny Damon, Matt Carpenter, Tyler O'Neill. Not Tyler O'Neill. What was the other one?
Are you thinking Bader?
Thank you. That was it.
Well, there you go.
You look very nice, though, Rock, with the haircut. I got to say that.
Like I said, fell out very strategically. I got lucky.
It's crazy.
By the way,
top 5 players, I'm curious, where are you guys at?
Oh, man. Well, even though he's not pitching, I'm going to have Shohei at number 1.
Yes. Shohei Ohtani, yeah.
Mookie Betts. See, as you are with the Yankees, I am with the Dodgers.
So my top 5 would have included Ohtani if
he was pitching?
If he was pitching.
Okay, that's reasonable. I'm with you with Ellie De La Cruz. I'm just fascinated by watching him play. You know who I am a big fan of, although his game has fallen off, but I still like watching Altuve play.
Yeah.
He's still got game, and he knows how to play the game. And then, let's see. I'm going to reserve my number 5 for a few minutes. Oh, you know who it is. It's Jose Ramirez.
Oh, man, what a year he's having for Cleveland.
Yeah, and he's been great for a long time.
Yep.
I think the only one different for me, and I'm really mad that the rain kept it from us this weekend, is Shota Imanaga. I think that he's another one that I would love to see in person.
I got to see a little bit more of him. A little bit more of him for me. I'm bought in, but I want to see him go through. I want to see him go through the league one time. I want to see him for a year.
See, and it's sad, by the way. We're having this conversation, and Acuña and Trout are both out with knee injuries.
Yeah.
Mike Trout would be in my top 5 for sure if he's healthy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, we've got rock and roll for you here on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are in the market for an outdoor project for your home, you need to get in touch with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, a great St. Louis institution. They've been around for 56 years, and they've earned an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Everything they do at Chesterfield Fence and Deck has a 5-year labor warranty, and comprehensive material warranties are also provided. And they do fences and decks, sunrooms and screen rooms, pergolas, anything you want done on an outdoor level, they will provide it for you. And right now, tell them Randy Karraker sent you, and you can get 48 months interest-free financing from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They're so high quality, and whatever you have done, they are going to put quality and professionalism first in everything they do for you. You can give them a call at 800-300-4054 or find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. They'll come out. They'll provide you a free, no-obligation project design. They'll show you pictures of other jobs that they've done. So if it's a sunroom or a screen room, you can see what they've done in the past and maybe get some ideas on what you would like done from Chesterfield Fence and Deck at chesterfieldfence.com. Call 800-300-4054. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to share with you something that I wish I knew about a while ago, and that is Golden Oak Lending. Listen, we've all been there before, racking up some credit card debt and maybe even student loans. I know that I've been there before, but the people over at Golden Oak Lending, they are there to help you. While credit card payments have been at an all-time high and mortgage rates have just gone through the roof, there is good news. Mortgage rates have started to come down. Golden Oak Lending has mortgage rates at 5.375% fixed, with customers saving on average $1,114 a month. Golden Oak just makes it so easy. I called in and I spoke with Jason, who made the call just super quick and professional. He educated us on our current loan on our house and what to look for in the future. Finance has really never been my thing, but Jason made sure to educate and guide me to the best solution for my needs. And that's what they do there at Golden Oak Lending. Personalized service that makes you feel heard and really addressing your needs and stress surrounding finances. So call today at 314-567-GOLD-NOW to get started, or go to goldenoaklending.com and see the reviews for yourself and where to get started there. 5.934% APR, FHA, 15-year fix with 20% equity and qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS number 114937.
want to rock. End roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Spend this much time writing a rant on the text line, I'm going to read it.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, Rock. Soccer rant coming. I don't want to see Klaus with his hands up complaining to the ref anymore if he has to play at 75% to play the whole game. It's obviously been the strategy with him the last 5 games. Happy feet everywhere. Indian arm, pressing keeper. No DP does less with the chances the team works so hard to get to give him. His shot off the post at the end was the only dynamic shot he's had this year. Blom is the definition of regression, guaranteed to pass parallel or backward, has not moved forward with his game this year like we expected. I knew as soon as I saw the lineup with Blom starting, we were going to give up goals. Only Celio is willing and can challenge a defender one-on-one. Klaus just takes the easy touches. Easy touches wide, does a no-hope shot to get a corner. Same thing every time. DP is a waste of money on a keeper, even one as good as Berkey. There's a reason why no one else has a DP keeper. We're not the smartest people in the room. This team actually has major problems. The diving in the second half was bad, led by Klaus. They have a team built on getting chances to a striker that cannot finish under his own power with service only. It's actually time to criticize ownership. They need to invest in actual proven players. The cheap upside play isn't working. The league figured our scheme out, and now there is an obvious talent gap in the finishing area. The 5 times Leuven touched the ball gives me hope. Can't wait till he's at full strength. There you go. That was we appreciate that from the 618. Thank you.
Holy mother.
How long did it take, you think, to do that?
A long time.
That's a good. Yeah, there's a lot of thought.
Voice text either.
No, if somebody was going to give that much to the text line, I am going to give them credit.
All I have on that is I really hope that your phone is connected to your computer.
Oh.
Because if you type that with your fingers on a phone.
Oh, yeah, it takes
you've never done like an angry paragraph text to like a, an X or something like that? We've all been there, right?
So,
right?
Is it time to rip ownership?
No.
No, listen, there's and this is something that people have started to do because something came out that broke down the total salaries for every MLS team, and City was at the bottom. I think in some tables they were second to last, in some tables they were last.
Gotta finish, Rock.
I think that's a ridiculous complaint against the ownership group, considering it's an ownership group that just builds that stadium, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And hopefully we're going to talk about this later this week. But if you believe the economic impact report, it's certainly making an impact on the city of St. Louis overall. And they built their own stadium, and they built a roster from scratch, and it's year 2. And so the years of having ticket sales and merchandising build up and pad your bottom line, when like the LA teams have, it's not there yet for City. And so I think giving them a few years to maybe keep building the team, and then maybe say, okay, now that we've done this for 4 or 5 years and we keep having sellouts, maybe now we can go spend an exorbitant amount of money outside of the salary cap to sign a designated player. So I think the criticism right now coming after ownership for what they're spending right now, the payroll being one of the lowest in the MLS, I think it's short-sighted, and I think it's a narrow way to look at things, and I think it's incredibly a dumb thing to argue about. I think most of his soccer points in that text I simply wouldn't agree with. Klaus has had more dynamic shots than that. Blom.
That wasn't his first of the year?
No, that was not his first dynamic shot of the game, or of the year for that matter. It might have been his first one of the game, but certainly was not his first one of the year. I just don't think this team has that many giant holes. The things they want to be good at, they're very good at. They turn teams over in the opposing half, top 3 in the league. They get a lot of shots. They don't let up a lot of shots. They don't let up a lot of set piece XG. They're going to create a lot more set piece XG now with Edward Leuven in the game. I mean, the things they want to do, they do well. The things they don't do well are the things they don't care about doing well. And that's just kind of how you have to build a scheme. They're not a super team. People keep thinking that City is going to build a roster that is somehow going to cover 100% of the field every single game. We're never going to have defensive lapses. The offense is always going to hum. We're going to control the ball in the midfield. That's just not a realistic thing in a team's second year just here. You don't have youth players that you've been developing in your scheme for the last 4 or 5 years. You don't have young players overall that got here when they were 20 and developed since they were 25. You have guys on their 3rd year in this system at the most. And so I think expecting a perfect team is ridiculous. They are building a team that works with their roster, and I don't think that's crazy. They're struggling right now, but I don't think this team is falling apart like that texter thought.
Randy, he said one of your favorite things.
What's that?
I say?
XG.
I said XG, yes.
XG.
Well, I mean, listen.
That's his favorite fancy
They're
stat.
stats. What do you want?
In soccer, they count. That's how you win games with XG.
XG.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. It matters because it tells you you're getting good shots. They're getting good shots. They're not putting them in. The finishing is a huge problem. But, like, the things you want to criticize about a team, especially, like, the coaching, like, if you get a lot of shots and you don't allow a lot of shots, the coaching's doing its job. Bradley Carnell can't get out there and actually put the ball in the back of the net. And by the way, in talking about putting the ball in the back of the net, talking about finishing, talking about finishing, St. Louis City SC announced the signing earlier today of Cedric Toyshirt from Hanover 96. He will. Here's the thing about soccer signings. So they announced the signing today on May 28th. He will be eligible to play a city match
in July, right?
In July 18th.
Yeah.
So it'll be it'll be 2 months because that's when his contract ends on July 1st in Germany. The transfer window in the United States in the MLS opens on July 18th. So we're looking at about 2 months, about 10 games until Cedric Toyshirt is eligible to play, which means obviously tack on a little bit more until we see him for 45.
Kirk
90,
Cousins signed with the Falcons in March. He's not going to play with them until September.
I got a question, Matthew. Cake eaters? What do we got there? You mentioned cake eater last segment.
It's a term that I learned personally from Letterkenny and Shorzy. It's a Canadian hockey term that just means spoiled because, Marie Antoinette, cake eaters.
Yeah, Antoinette.
Yeah. And I thought calling the Yankees cake eaters, I thought it got through. I thought that kind of conveyed with context.
I was trying to put 2 and 2 together. I thought I did. I just wanted to get confirmation. That's all.
I love cake.
I do too.
Good.
Favorite cake? Everybody go. You're going to say carrot cake. Okay, outside of carrot cake.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. And it doesn't agree with my stomach, but I still eat it.
What is
It's like chocolate cherry cheesecake.
Chocolate cherry cheesecake?
Yeah, chocolate cheesecake with cherries on top.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
You know where I'm going, though, Randall?
Carrot cake.
No, not just any carrot cake.
From the Traeger.
Randy's
From your
carrot.
house to mine.
So we're all cake eaters.
For sure.
There we go.
I love cake so much.
I love carrot cake. I like any cake that if you have like a little bit of fruit in there, but not too much fruit.
Listen,
like with a good buttercream icing.
Oh, carrot cake has buttercream icing and it has pineapple in it.
I know.
Grocery stores.
Well, sometimes some people don't put the pineapple in
but
there.
they should.
Exactly.
Should they not?
Grocery stores need to stop just like having cakes, like pre-made, just like right there. Because the amount of times I thought,
Oh.
I could eat half a cake today.
The Whole Foods.
I thought about
The
every
Whole
time
Foods
I walk by. Like,
Have you had that
it's,
one?
Yes, it's
Is it
like
whole?
it's
Is it? They do have whole cakes. at Whole
There's cut
Foods.
strawberries in it, and frankly, I was pissed. I was
What
like,
is it
"Listen,
called?
you tell me it's a whole food cake, and then there's cut strawberries in here. False advertisement."
Chantilly cake.
Chantilly cake,
That
yeah.
cake. Oh my gosh,
Man, I had a
that
piece
is one
of
of the best cakes.
I had a piece of vanilla pound cake over the weekend. I could eat 15 of those and
so
not be and just keep on going. It'd be unbelievable.
And they have every option available. So if you have a party, you can get a big chantilly cake, or if you're like on the go, like Rockio said, then they have a slice, or they have a mini version, and then they have an even smaller version.
Really? Smaller than mini?
Yeah, I don't even know what you would call that.
No. Tiny.
Extra small?
Extra small.
Everyone's saying they heard cake eater because that's what they called Adam Banks in Mighty Ducks, and I cannot believe I actually forgot about that. But yeah, they do call Adam Banks a cake eater in Mighty Ducks. That's a really good point. So it's not even a Canadian hockey thing; it's just a hockey thing.
Part of our discussion tomorrow is going to include the greatest sports documentary that you've seen. Danny Mac has watched the Beckham documentary on Netflix.
Watched it yesterday late. Didn't get to bed till like 2:00 this morning. I went in not expecting much. I'm not the hugest soccer fan. Obviously, know Beckham, know his history. It was fascinating. I thought it was awesome. I didn't realize that he was signed by Manchester United when he was like 12 years old.
Wow.
Went through everything, then became this superstar. Talked about his marriage. It talked about, marrying a celebrity and what they had to go through in that area with the paparazzi and all that stuff. It was really interesting.
So many great 30 for 30s, so many great HBO docs, sports documentaries. I'm going to have to really review my documentary viewing experience to come up with my favorite one. And I think it's going to be Miracle on Ice, which is again the video that they had.
Yep.
But and by the way, the movie Miracle was just a ripoff of the HBO documentary.
Right. The HBO documentary was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm trying to think of other. It's just, for some reason, the first one that came to mind, and didn't show him exactly in the best light, but I thought it actually taught me things I didn't know before. But the Tiger Woods documentary that was on HBO, and I know that he wasn't involved with it, but I didn't realize the extent of his Navy. I knew that he was doing that, but the extent of his Navy SEAL training and how that possibly affected him on the golf course.
I read his the book. Not by him, but Armin Katayan, which is what that is based off of, and it really gets into detail.
Yeah,
they kind of gloss over it in the documentary a little bit. You get the point, but in the book, man, the details of what came out, pretty incredible.
The Hank Haney one too.
Yes,
book. I read a book one time.
If you have access to it, if you have ESPN Plus and you have access to all the 30s for 30s, and you feel like having your heart ripped out of your chest, Once Brothers 30 for 30. It's the one about the Yugoslavian basketball team, Vlade Divac. You want to see a man 7'4" cry and make you cry? Watch Once Brothers. It's
also, the 30 for 30 Catching Hell, the Bartman one, was so well done. It's the amount of video they have on that is incredible.
So
we're giving away the segment.
We kind of
I know,
are.
but this is not a documentary. But last little comment: Iron Claw. Have you guys watched that? I watched this past weekend. It is so sad. Von Erich, the brothers. You guys remember them from the wrestling days? It's about just all of the heartbreak, and I mean, I was going to say I'm not going to give it away, but it was true, and it was something that really happened. I think is it HBO? I think it's on HBO. It is so sad. The brothers went through so much, and there's only one surviving brother left.
I didn't know that.
Tune in tomorrow, and I might have a different favorite for you than Miracle, by the way.
I know what yours is, and it's probably mine too.
Don't say it.
Mine is for different reasons than yours.
We've got a balloon party coming up with T-Mac and Ajax, followed by BK and Ferrario, and then the Fast Lane is here from 2 to 6, and then tonight at 6:30. Panthers and Rangers pregame for Game 4 of their series. Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocky. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Danny Mac, you were awesome.
Oh, no, you were awesome.
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show.
Society.
Oh, it sure is. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Taco Tuesday, St. Louis.
Bring gas.